The Buffalo Bills are now 3-0 and will have an extended break. They won't be back in action until next Sunday at home against the New Orleans Saints. Head coach Sean McDermott did speak with the media today, saying both Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who did miss yesterday with injuries, are improving. He also mentioned that linebacker Keontae Jenkins has a leg injury, though the severity of that is unknown at this point. Offense coordinator Joe Brady and defense coordinator Bobby Babich also spoke with the media. You can listen to all three over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. No Jaden Daniels this weekend. The Commanders against the Raiders. Marcus Mariota is going to get the start at quarterback. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft did not practice today. Head coach Matt LaFleur says his status for Sunday against Cleveland is uncertain. Day 2 of training camp for the Buffalo Sabres. Preseason game number 1 on Monday at Columbus. Following practice today, Captain Rasmus Dahlin did share a letter regarding an ordeal revolving around his fiancée while vacationing in France this summer. Paul Hamilton has more on WGR550.com. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Allen going to roll left, looking for someone in the end zone, and now Shovel passes it, complete to Jackson Hawes for his first career touchdown from 5 yards out. Pitch play to the left to Cook. Blockers in front, has a hole, and he threw it. 40, 50, and just tackled from behind by the final defender at the Miami 41-yard line, or he would have been Gone. Gone.
To me, it's the same James Cook. The guy just attacks every time he touches the ball. He looks like he's been shot out of a cannon every time he touches it.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
It takes a full team effort. It's hard to win in this league every week. That's a good team, an explosive offense. So to come out here on Thursday night on a short week and get it done feels good.
It's a screen pass to Shakir. Has a blocker in front, racing to the end zone, and he's in. It's a 15-yard screen pass for a touchdown.
I thought the grit, the mental toughness of our football team was on display throughout the game, in particular in the fourth quarter there.
Back to pass, fires, it's intercepted! Picked off by Terrell Bernard, coming the other way and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Terrell Bernard, Mr. Fourth Quarter.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Hi there. Beautiful day. Football Friday on WGR, brought to you by Salino Law. Car crash? Call Salino. Call the 8s. And by Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's Hometown Fuel. Game day ready since 1922. Are we flying? Are we dragging?
I feel great. I don't know.
You will have a crash.
I imagine that will happen.
You need this hometown fuel.
Yeah, I don't know. I had, the day cleared. I like to get up and work out in the morning, but I thought, whatever. We didn't get home until 1:30, 2:30 to bed, and I woke up at 8 like I usually do, and fully intended. I even got back in bed. I got up to use the bathroom, and I got back in bed. I was like, I can sleep till like 10. I got nothing. Don't be so hard on yourself. Skip the workout today. And I just was lying there. I'm like, I'm awake. This is when I get up. I don't know. My body's telling me to get up. So I got up, and I feel good. Only 2 beers all day and night. Well, we were working, so there wasn't going to be any beers while we were working.
No, of course.
But only 2 beers and all good. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling peak actually.
So was it like really fun?
I would say it was really really great to be in the bowl.
It was a good game for that.
For the game, yeah.
You want it to be close.
The seats were,
I think.
They weren't the best seats, but they might be the best seats I've ever sat in for a football game. Like 35-yard line, 15 rows up, row 17. So high enough that the sideline isn't a problem, and near enough the middle of the field that there's no real, there were a couple of runs where like, oh, did he get the first down? Yeah, he got the first down, like down at the far end of the field.
When I had season tickets, I was on the visitor side, which I liked because of the sunshine they only played day games when I was going.
Right.
But like when you're on the visitor side and the plays you're talking about would have been to the left, Like the Shakir touchdown you just heard
Right.
would have been on
running away from me, as far away from me as possible.
on the near side, but
Right.
all the way on the left. And plays down there, you sort of watch them, then you have to sort of jerk your head back up to the scoreboard on the right. Like you have to sort of go back and forth. On the home side, small point, or not that small, when you're on the home side, that happens, but the scoreboard, if you're on like the other 35, sort of
Right.
diagonal from where you're sitting, the play is diagonal from you, but the scoreboard is the same direction. So you sort of just look out and then up.
Well, that's where I was. I was on the tunnel end of the 35. So the scoreboard was in my field of vision so the Shakir play was, that's why I was saying it was as far away from me as you could get from where our seats were.
Okay.
Because we were, like, the Kincaid play was right in front of us. The touchdown, the first score of the game for the Bills. Was
Okay.
So that's where we were. And as it turned out, I was almost in line with Tyreek Hill's spot on the bench.
Yeah, you wanted that.
I did.
My mistake in before was thinking like you were on the other 35, but on the same side.
Right.
That's where I used to sit.
Okay.
Or the 30.
Yeah. So there was nothing too dramatic to report. There was, there's a lot, there's drama there. Like he comes to the sideline and there's a play, incomplete pass where he stumbles. Benford had a handful of jersey on the play. I don't know if they showed that on TV or not, but they got away with one there. But it's an incomplete pass and he fell. And he came to the sideline like his groin, it looked like he was hurt. And he was really frustrated. And like a team of people sort of like, consoling him. And then he went right back in. It looked like he might be out for the
Just
year.
like Benford.
Right. But there was one exchange after Tua botched that snap. And that killed the drive.
So that's right in front of you.
Yeah.
That play. Now I
play's
got
right
it.
in front of me, and then Hill's on the bench, and as Tua's walking by, like he did not walk by, he didn't look like he wanted to engage with Hill, but he's walking by, and he stops, because it looked to me, I would assume Hill said something to him, and they had an exchange. It didn't look fiery, but it also didn't look like super, I couldn't see Hill's on the bench. I could see his head. I could see his head moving, talking to Tua, and Tua's talking back at him, and it lasted about 35 seconds, and he walked off. I thought that might be the moment. Like, am I going to get something here? But it sort of fizzled. And I even Googled to see if there was any, like, if Dolphin fans or reporters were, like, focused on this exchange. Because Hill, that's the only time I saw him talk to Tua all night.
Well, when he scored, they celebrated on the sideline.
Okay.
Al Michaels. Prime had that.
Okay.
Like they embraced at the sideline, 21-all.
Good. Okay.
Tua should have done when dropping the snap what Allen did. Just toss it to the ref and have the play be whistled dead.
Right.
I caught that. I mean, like immediately, this play isn't over. What is the ref doing catching that ball? They just took for granted that it's Josh Allen, so he must know. He's above the clock. He's above reproach in this league that he can fumble a snap and just toss it to the ref, and the ref just catches it and blows the whistle.
He meant to kneel.
He just meant it, guys.
he meant to kneel, and he kind of kneeled, but without the ball. He didn't have the ball when he kneeled.
But like, where's replay assist on that?
Right.
I guess it doesn't matter. It's only when they want it.
Yeah.
But that was.
But anyway, like, so there's your
lucky.
There's your Tua report, or excuse me, Tyreek Hill report. I almost forgot. Someone, we were in our seats early enough. I was scrolling, and someone said, "Don't forget to look for Tyreek Hill." I'm like, thank you, because I had already forgotten. Like, I got in there and I was just like, well, this is so cool to be in here again. Just right, I'm talking to people and just hanging out. I completely forgot about like, oh yeah, I have a job to do. I said I was going to do this thing, and I tried my level best. Anyway, it was great being in there. It was great.
The show won't be about the Dolphins, but the coach shouldn't be getting fired. Like,
I wouldn't think so.
They drew up third downs. I mean, they moved the ball against the Bills. And, that's something to talk about. We've got an extra day and then next week to talk about what that is, because a lot were leaving Miami for dead. But that happened. I mean, the Bills did their thing. They stayed back. Everything was short. Both quarterbacks, it was pointed out, like set a record game in recent years for throwing such short passes. The Bills come off like they can do whatever they want. And I just want to take it slow on that because I don't know. It's still so early in the season, and we've been talking about the Jets and the Dolphins and the division in general as teams that are just going to be pushovers. And the Jets were. The Dolphins weren't. But the Bills still scored 31 points and scored on most possessions. They had that stretch in the second half where, Allen under pressure in this game was not what he's been normally under pressure. Like, this was not a game where he sort of shot out of the pocket and took off or found, crossing routes, found guys. He struggled when Miami got through and they made it tough on him. But you still have, that's what the greatness of the Bills is. They have certain challenges in games, but still overall thrive.
Yeah, once they scored on their first possession to match Miami's first score, they never trailed in the game. Again, they got tied twice, but they never trailed. And yeah, their opportunity to sort of make the game to make the game what I and maybe a lot of people, but I don't need to lump a lot of people. And I thought the Bills were going to smash them, and the opportunity to do that was back-to-back 3-and-outs in the second half by the defense, and the Bills got the ball back and went tit for tat with 3-and-outs. They could not move the ball for that pocket of the game, but eventually, they got the lead, and then Miami tied it, and then they needed another score. They went and got another score. But yeah, it was like a strange game in that way. Miami, they moved the ball, they were effective 10 of 15 on third downs. Holy cow, that's a horrific conversion rate.
See, how is that possible when they're screaming third down and riling the fans up?
Right, but Miami only had 130 yards passing, or 146 yards passing, 130 yards, 276 yards is not you didn't get stomped on, but third downs, they just kept drives going enough to make the game interesting.
Well, that's what I was saying before, how the Bills play it. They forced Miami into long drives because they would not give up anything deep to those guys, and that makes sense. The Dolphins, the Dolphins' performance reminded me of when the Bills' drought was happening, and I would sometimes just be like, losers lose, because they were often not terrible, and they even with New England, they'd be in games, but they would do certain things. They would fail to capitalize on certain, on the edges or just certain mistakes. That's exactly what Miami has to talk about, to chew on today, is, the roughing the punter.
Right.
But also just the pick. The pick is a function of, you're not going to beat us deep. You're going to have to drive the field. They did that 3 times to touchdowns, but the fourth time, eventually there was that one mistake, and that's it. And so that's kind of the point there. But if we're Miami and it's 2009 or one of these years, I'm going, how do you have Hill and Waddle and not be able to figure out route patterns to draw penalties? Trey White's getting beat. Anytime Waddle wanted to beat Trey White one-on-one, he did. Who knows how many other times it happened, he just didn't get the ball. Then you have Tyreek also, even with Benford. Those are great players. And as a coach, I got to figure out ways to cross up that defense, and I can get an illegal contact. I'm the underdog. I'm the road team. In a certain way of thinking, that should be to my advantage. I should be able to get calls on a TV show where they would rather have it be a close game. But even without any sort of conspiracy point, it never happened. They could not they got their half dozen or few or around that kind of number of plays from each guy, but nothing more than that. They're also trying to, run the ball and keep the ball and do what they were doing in that way. So it wasn't like they threw constantly. But that to me that's sort of a failure on coaching when you can't draw penalties with players like that who are so fast and elusive. But the roughing the punter rather is more obvious, and the interception. Those are the two big failures by the Dolphins in the game. And maybe the Bills win anyway. You talk about how Miami didn't get the lead back. Well, they get the ball there on that punt if they don't rush the punter. And I don't know why anybody is still bothering to rush the punter. Like, what do they think is going to happen there? Like, you're more at risk of a fake if the Bills want to run a fake. And in that case, I don't want to be rushing the punter. I want to be sort of wary of a fake. Like,
I think that was the big moment in the game. I mean, we don't know what would have happened, but I know how it felt sitting there in the stadium. Like, everyone around me was pretty tense at that moment, even though the Bills, it's tie game, and I'm continuing to not be able to move the ball. And you'd like to think, like, well, when I really have to, I will. But whatever. I mean, put this thing away already. And they couldn't until they did. And then they did. It's one of those. But, yeah, the punt, I think the block, the fake block, oh, my God. The roughing the punter penalty. I guess I'm not that sharp. I feel good, but maybe I'm not sharp.
I've done it, too.
I don't know. That was, I think, the biggest swing in the game. Next to the interception. I mean, obviously the interception sealed it, but by that point you're already in front by 7. I mean, Miami, I guess, could have scored a goal for 2 and taken the lead back. That would
have been interesting.
I doubt that they would have done that, but they could have. As an underdog, like you're saying, maybe they would have thought, this is our chance, let's take it.
I would have absolutely. Maybe they score with a minute left and are kicking to Allen. I would have, for their sake, wanted them to do it, but we don't know. The Bills, so, you talk about what the Dolphins threw for. Tua was 146. It's weird right now in the NFL, and it's weird with the Bills. The Bills are a great example of it. Allen throws for 213. What was last week? 150?
Yeah.
Even, they didn't need to play the fourth quarter last week, but here's a game where they score 31 points, and offensively they're very efficient for the most part. And he's throwing for 213, 22 for 28, 213 and 3. No turnover. Imagine a Bills turnover. Who can? No interceptions, no fumbles, 4 for 25 on the ground.
It was jarring that he got sacked twice.
I know.
That's a lot of sacks in a Bills game against the Bills.
Right now, I think to put it one way, the essence of the Bills' offense, if not their team, is the tight ends. It's an extension of last year. 2 years ago, Joe Brady takes over around, Thanksgiving, whenever it was, and they changed. They went to a running team. Cook breaks out. They rough up Dallas. They beat the Chiefs. Then they blast Dallas and make it all the way to the playoffs. And they're shorthanded defensively. They lose the playoff game. And somewhat controversially, this is the home game on the 2 plays before the missed field goal, where Kansas City then sort of kneels out the game. But they changed their identity, if you will, in those weeks. And so what happens in 2024? Well, why wouldn't they continue that? And they did. And you end up with a season where Cook breaks out, 16 rushing touchdowns, 30 rushing touchdowns for the team, 30 points a game. And how did they do it? They didn't run the extra linemen so much more often than other teams. They were closer to the middle of the pack for that than, anything sort of extreme on the high end. But they come out as a team that is predicated on the run. And this is last year. And you have Cook's season, and then Allen does his thing on the ground as always. And they're more like a bully than they'd ever been. And then this year, remember the draft. I remember this. I saw a tweet from a guy, Max Toscano, that I read, who really knows his tight ends, last night. And I almost tweeted back. I don't know him, but I almost tweeted back at him Sal said this about Hawes. So we're recapping the draft, and the main story of the draft was how they leaned into defense again. Mm-hmm. And we didn't all like that. And the morning after the draft, Brandon Beane is calling us, complaining about how we're, viewing it and his wide receiver stuff. And okay, well, the discussion became between defensive draft capital and weapons. Yet, here's this guy, Hawes. And I remember talking to Sal probably that same Monday. And is he interesting? What is this? And he said, yes. What they can do with him is basically replace Alec Anderson with him. And the difference is he's legal to catch the ball. Like he's our actual tight end, not just somebody kind of playing that position, not an extra tackle who's in an eligible position. So that's the first thing I remember hearing about Jackson Hawes, and the first conversation I know I had about him.
I remember it the same way. Yep.
Was Sal saying, "Well, here's the advantage with this guy," and then you ended up hearing Eric Wood mentioned it yesterday. We'll talk to Eric today. He's the best blocking tight end we've ever seen. All right. So did that seem like a need for the Bills? No. Knox has always been that. Knox kind of blocks Kincaid. But what do they want? They wanted Kincaid to get stronger. And he's done more blocking in 3 games than I've ever seen.
More effectively, anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's in scraps last night, right? I mean, he's really in the middle of it. And scores, too. Also a good game receiving-wise. And here's Hawes, who, I mean, just like against the Jets, he is taking out Bradley Chubb right away. I'm like with my wife, watch 85. He's a rookie. He went to Yale. And Georgia Tech, right? But here's his story. And then the next time she looked up, it was like Judon. And we ended up talking about how he gets to wear orange socks. Like how that was something. But, still, here's Hawes like taking Judon and taking Chubb. Like they put a rookie tight end on edge rushers, and they're winning. And so then you get the touchdown. Yes. And the play before the touchdown, and you and I both bet Hawes to score a touchdown last night,
I had it with other junk, so I didn't win anything. But
you didn't?
Yeah, no, I didn't have it on its own because I'm an idiot. But, whatever. Keep going.
I won 13-1.
Good, yeah.
So the play before, the snap before, there's confusion, and they call timeout.
And it was him. Yeah, I saw.
It was him.
Because you saw, I think, Knox sort of consoling him as they went to the bench for the timeout. Because and I think he said after the game, he botched that because all they did all week was walkthroughs leading up to the game. There was no full-speed practice. And I think he told – I'm not sure who was conducting the interview, if it was just a group thing or whatever, but he said that's the first time I've done that, and I didn't have it. Like, I screwed it up because we hadn't run it full speed.
So I say to my wife, there goes the touchdown. Maybe this was going to happen. It's a long shot to begin with, but now he's made a mistake, perhaps. Oh, well. And on the play, which is right off the timeout, the next play, or the same play, they lined up similarly, but he goes in motion and then slips.
Right.
And he's like inches away from wrecking the play. Like a half second earlier of the snap, Allen takes the snap, steps back, and just bangs into him.
Right. Probably a fumble or something. Like, who knows? Right.
But he, even with that is avoided, and he comes out. And what I liked about him on the catch is Allen, it's Josh Allen. He's coming around the end, and at a certain point on that play, what are his odds of scoring himself? Like, they're better than 50-50.
Yeah.
Yet, Hawes doesn't block anybody. He doesn't just sort of like this, all right, let's get our guy in. Mm-hmm. No, he does not, which is kind of interesting.
He presents himself as a receiver.
That's right. That's right. He shows, and then Allen gives him the shovel, and then that's the touchdown, and we're all, sorry. I thought you won, but big winners.
I feel like I won just because I called for it, and a lot of people followed along, so good for everyone.
Ostrowski gave you the credit on his show this morning.
I did.
Because you're the one who mentioned it to him.
I did, yeah.
And he went, and you said it later, he went looking for his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who?
Yeah, I felt Joe's eyes rolling as I laid that whole scenario out to him. I said he was getting all this dirty work, he's getting all this credit, and certain kind of games. So I didn't exactly nail, because I thought it would be near the end of the game. If it's a certain kind of game, they'll give the guy, they'll draw something up for him. And I finished that point, and Joe just goes, okay. Like, it was just like the verbal eye roll. Like, well, whatever, Bulldog. So, yeah, Sam, his partner, texted me during the game, who is Jackson Hawes? And I just replied to him, ask Joe. Because I brought it up and I got an eye roll. But anyway.
Sam is coming up next, and he mentioned on his show today he texts all of us.
Yes.
Constantly. I'm not taking anything away from you, of course. Like, he and I talk too. Same thing for me last night. So we'll talk to Sam Panayotovich. Bills 31, Dolphins 21. Take the weekend off. Bills at 3-0, and now 2-0 already in the division. For us, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on this Football Friday. First, it's time for a break. We'll be back in a snap, brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills. On to the rest of week 3. I think I was at the game. I was up maybe later than you, though. No excuse.
Yeah.
1:45 in the morning. You know, that sausage pasta looks good right now.
I got home I was so hungry when we got home. We had like a little bit to eat during the game, but not a lot. And I got home and there was a whole pizza and a box of wings sitting there. My wife was at work, but she had ordered it and it was there waiting for us when we got home. That was a huge dub.
Wow.
For me.
Anyway, on to the rest of week 3 with some reflection on last night's Bills win over the Dolphins. Miami covers. Sam Panovich with us, the co-host of Bet Sweats on the BetMGM network, Odyssey Betting Insider. You can hear their show, he and Joe Ostrowski, weekday mornings, 9 to noon. Sam, did you enjoy the game, mostly?
I did, but I have to call something out here. I'm not buying this 2-drink Bulldog last night. I'm not buying that for 1 second.
Dude, it's the truth. I would tell you if I was dragging because I had 6 beers, I would say it. But really, one when we got in there, one when we got up to go eat in the second quarter. By the time I was thinking about another one, it's been 20 years, Sam, since I've been in there as a fan. So by the time I was thinking about a third beer, it was close to the end of the third quarter, and I thought, do they stop serving beer at the end of the third quarter? Like, I remember that being a thing years ago.
They do, right?
I don't know. I didn't get up to go find out. I just thought, I'm not going to run up there. Whatever. I'm fine. I'm good.
It's a good game.
Yeah. I didn't want to miss anything. The concourses are not great for watching the game on TVs. I learned that the hard way yesterday. So I didn't want to miss anything. So that really, it's the truth. 2 beers. I know. I'll make up for it.
Right.
It's the weekend, Sam, and the Bills don't play till next Sunday, so I'm good to go.
2's a bad number, though. 1 is worse than 2. I'd rather have 2 than 1. I'd much rather have 5 or 6. 2's a bad number, though, because you're in that gray space and you don't know what to do next. But, okay, I'll believe it. I also, before I forget, I want to shout this out. You know, I take a train every week to New York. Tell me how I wind up sitting right next to a Buffalonian who was so awesome. And she's telling me, you got to come to a game. I'll get you thrown through a table. You'll meet Pinto Ron. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Why do I bring out the best in everybody, and everybody just wants to party? It was so fun. Amanda's her name. She's like, you got to get to Buffalo. I'll take you everywhere. I'm like, done. Let's do it.
Was that today, going home to Boston, or yesterday?
It was Wednesday afternoon.
Going to New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, but Buffalonians are awesome. Maybe
we're everywhere.
Is the reason.
We're everywhere. We need the work.
And you look like you might be fun, I suppose, right? So
yeah,
it all lines up.
I would say that.
Yeah.
Here's a man in Sam Panovich so excited to bet the Cleveland Browns this weekend that pens went flying on his show today. He was so excited to hear that the number 1 public bet was Green Bay. Not to your surprise, by the way.
Paul was really kind of screwing me up mentally on that one because he was shaping it that the Browns were going to be the most popular bet. And I hate being on the side of the betting public because the betting public generally doesn't win. That's very fair to say. And I've been talking about the Browns all week, kind of making this an ugly, just mucky game. Browns ball. It's what they do. 17-15 somehow. Not even a likely landing score. Somehow it's going to be 15. I don't know how, but we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Their D-line is very good. I would argue it's elite. And the one thing about the Packers, guys, on top of the fact that they haven't played a road game yet, they've been shoveled a very easy schedule to start. Their O-line is a problem. And they've been kind of shuffling guys around. Neither team they faced, Detroit or Washington, got to the quarterback. That's all Cleveland does. If Cleveland's good at one thing, what is it? Getting to the quarterback, lining up Myles Garrett all over the field. I took the Browns. I took 8. They could lose by 17, of course. It's the NFL, and they're not a very good team. I need Flacco to go wacko on Sunday, though, and cover 8.
I just can't get past the idea of Joe Flacco in the pocket with Micah Parsons. Like it's the same equation you're laying out for the Browns against the Packers. I just think Micah Parsons is going to decapitate Joe Flacco.
Well, that would be bad for me then, because then it'd be Shedeur.
They do have 4
right?
quarterbacks.
Shedeur?
They do have 4 quarterbacks
or
at least.
Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, who's the backup? Shedeur or Gabriel? I don't even know.
It's Gabriel. They moved Pickett. That's right. Well, that's the game, I guess, is what happens up front. Because if I'm Green Bay, and I don't want to bet Green Bay either, but that's the one thing I need to avoid, you know. And Detroit and Washington were kind of good teams that the Packers made look, you know, second rate in their two games. So we'll see. What are your takeaways from the Bills through 3? You were very into, as we talked all summer, you know, the Bills as your Super Bowl bet. AFC East, couple them with other things, you can get a decent price. I mean, they're not at all disappointing, to say the least. A couple of games been close. I mean, last night might have been surprising to the general public that the Bills didn't win more easily. Is it wheels up entirely with them for you?
I'm trying to keep my composure. I'm very excited. I think the one thing that's really cool is that they can come out there against a team that is literally playing for survival, playing to save its season at 0-2. Those 0-2 teams, guys, we joke about how they're bad, but those 0-2 teams really care, and they cover a ton in Week 3. It's a very historical trend. That's now 63-39 ATS in the last 102 games where the dog covers, when the dog is 0-2 ATS in Week 3. So check the box again. Dolphins cover. It was pretty easy to cover that, too, the 12 and the 12.5s. But the Bills come out there without, their two best defensive players. Milano doesn't play, Ed Oliver doesn't play, and they still play a game that's good enough to hold off a very punchy Dolphins team. The quarterback's unbelievable. And I told the story this morning on our show. I texted Sal after they threw a pass to some guy named Shavers. I go, who are these guys? Like, who are these guys he's throwing to? And Sal said to me, and I think it's a great analogy. I haven't heard him say it yet. He said Josh Allen is basically Magic Johnson. Just get the ball to the right guy at the right time, and that's the strength of this offense. And when they don't turn it over, they're as good as anybody in the NFL. And I trust that quarterback. As I said in the summer, I bet the Bills for the first time ever to win the Super Bowl because I believe in the quarterback. And in a tie game, down 3, down 4 points, fourth quarter, I believe in him. I believe in him more than Lamar. I always have. And I think it's crazy to see this Chief team now. I mean, look at the odds boards to win the Super Bowl. Buffalo is like 4 or 5 to 1. Kansas City's 15 to 1. And they have problems that I don't think they can solve right now. Buffalo's the team to beat. I felt that all year.
Sam Panovich, Chiefs at Giants Sunday night. The Ravens have the Lions on Monday night. That's interesting. And the Chiefs play the Ravens next week. So you could have 2 1-2 teams. I mean, the best they'll do is 2-1 versus 1-2 going into that game in Week 4. Pretty good. I mean, the window is so open for the Bills. It's just so early. I think a lot of fans are going to want to be guarded because they've had great regular seasons, you know, including great starts. But it does look like maybe the conference is more available to them. Who else? Chargers, Sam? Like, are they, if it's not going to be Baltimore, I mean, kind of a fluke loss here, and they might just be on the Bills level or more. But L.A., is anybody else dangerous to you in the conference? Indy?
Harbaugh scares me, for sure. That guy's won everywhere he's been, going back to University of San Diego. The guy just won everywhere. He just builds it up, and he unleashes offenses because he's a quarterback guru. He played quarterback at the highest level, right? NFL quarterback. And he's got Herbert zipping that thing. I don't know how much Herbert you guys have seen this year. End of last year, that kid's a stud, man. And I remember watching him in the Rose Bowl when he was so awkward and gangly. Like, the talent was all there, but he hadn't matured as a guy who could stand in the pocket and go through his progressions. He has developed a ton under Harbaugh, and if their defense can stay healthy, they're legit. But every conversation starts with Buffalo, Baltimore, and then Chargers are third right now on the AFC list. Chiefs 4, Colts 5, Broncos 6. I could probably stop there. I could probably erase the Colts and the Broncos. I just don't see it with Bo Nix. But you're talking right now from a power rating standpoint, Buffalo, Baltimore basically at the top in the AFC. Chargers have a higher power rating right now than the Chiefs. Now, that number will be different on Kansas City when they get Worthy back, when they get Rashee Rice back. That team in Week 2, Week 3 is going to be a lot different than it is in Week 8, Week 9, but that's assuming health. I mean, if they're not healthy, Mahomes can't do everything by himself. And if Kelsey keeps dropping touchdown passes because he wants to look good in his pantsuit and look good for the wedding, it's just not a team that looks like they want it anymore. Maybe that's not fair to say, but they weren't going nuts in that game against the Eagles. They were very passive and very calm, and that's why they lost.
Yeah, they'll get those guys back, but the question is how far, how are they in a hole but when they get those guys back? They're going to have to do some winning here without those guys to keep their season on track if they're going to be a top-tier team.
Schedule is not easy for them, too, and I think we just naturally assume that the Chiefs will figure it out and they'll be able to fix all this, but you're probably going to beat the Giants because NFL favorites -4 or higher or don't lose anymore. I've got that on good accord. 90% since week 13 of last year. 90% they're winning at. Just outright, not covering, winning. So let's give them this win, right? All right, you're 1-2. Then you get Baltimore. They come to Arrowhead. At Jacksonville, home against Detroit, home against Vegas, home against Washington, at the Bills, at the Broncos. Holy crap, dude.
Right. Let's talk some college football. So how good of a weekend is this overall? We had the fun start, and then you had a week or even two where a lot of games were real mismatches. I know there are still a couple of those. But is it a pretty good weekend?
I think so. I love being able to turn on the TV at 12 noon and watch football until 2 in the morning if you got money on the Cal game or the Utah game. You reelers know. Look, this is not
Hawaii.
Popular. Hawaii. Hawaii in the over. No, don't do it. So I told Zach this, and even Zach gave me some pushback. Everybody's giving me pushback on this bet, which means it's going to win.
Texas.
And we've been doing pretty well on this show so far. Nobody is laying points with Texas here. They're laying 39 to Sam Houston State. Every show I've watched this week, everything I've listened to, every clip I see, Arch Manning stinks. He's a bust. Their offense is broken. They are going to pound this team. Sam Houston State's one of the worst teams in college football. And I'm not saying it's going to fix their season because I think Texas does have some underlying issues. I think it's 52-7, if not bigger. The number is 39. People don't want to lay it because Texas hasn't played good. If Texas was a stock, this would be the time to buy. They're going to name their score. I'm going to call my shot. We had Miami last week. Miami pounded South Florida. I think Texas destroys Sam Houston State.
But that's not one of the, quote, good games, right? I mean, hopefully the weekend is better than, a 40-point spread.
we view weekends much differently, Mike.
Yes, I guess.
Right, a good weekend is when you win a bet like that. That's a good weekend. Right?
Yeah, you just want to watch all day. You don't care what the spread. Like, it's just, the action, right? But what's the weekend's marquee game?
Probably Miami and Florida. That's a huge game. Huge game for recruiting purposes, too. And you guys know I'm very high on Carson Beck. Got some Heisman bets on him. That's a big one for sure. Surprisingly, Illinois-Indiana is a huge, highly rated game. I mean, both teams are ranked.
That's weird.
Maybe people in Buffalo don't care about Illinois-Indiana. Auburn-Oklahoma is big for sure. You got Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma quarterback, is now the quarterback at Auburn, going back to Oklahoma. Two longtime SEC rivals, too, huh? Auburn and Oklahoma now. Yeah. Let's see. I like Missouri against South Carolina. In terms of, marquee matchups, this is not the biggest week. Next Saturday's huge, though. You got Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State.
You know what else we have next weekend, Bulldog? European NFL.
Oh, great.
Early. Get your lineups in early.
Yeah.
Minnesota and Pittsburgh next Sunday morning, so brace yourself. I think that's week 4, isn't it?
And Sam, don't be dogging Indiana, Illinois. People were paying attention last week. I had Indiana minus 43.5 against the Larry Birdless Indiana State, and they won 73-0.
That got home.
That got home.
That's right.
I love early in the year. I love the stupid spread games in college football. I think I'm taking Virginia Tech minus some ridiculous number tomorrow against Woolford. Just because it's fun to say Woolford.
Yeah.
That reminds me. After the this would have been the second championship with Tebow. Florida the next year was playing. Good grief, Bulldog University or Schopp State or something, and Florida was laying 69 points. I'm not making this up.
Wow.
69. And I had just started to kind of bet seriously. We're talking late 2000s. And Bulldog Schopp State is getting 69. And I'm thinking, there's no way, right? There's no way they're not covering 69 points. At half, it was 56-0, right?
Yeah.
Well, always take the 69. Always take the 69 is the lesson. Sam?
This is very bad. 56-0. They covered, by the way.
They did. They covered the 69. How do you like that? Sam, thank you. I've enjoyed your show. We're both watching it, most days, and it's always great to have you on here with us.
All right, guys. Peace and love.
See ya. Peace and love. Sam Panayotovich, Bet Sweats, weekday mornings 9 to noon, and he'll be on with Nick Kostos Sunday morning. You can catch those shows on the Bet 1520 and the Odyssey app. Eric Wood. So Eric could not join us Monday this week, and actually he can't be with us next Monday either, but he will be with us today coming up in about 15 minutes to talk about last night's win. We're at 803-0550. We'll fit you in. Sal will join us at 5 today, picks at 6. Look at our records so far. I think we might be off to the best combined start in the picks ever.
You are, 8-4? I'm 7-5, I think.
Now it's 9-4, 8-5.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
17-9. Should have told Sam.
I missed a game somewhere.
I don't want to.
No, we're doing great.
I don't want to, assume anything. But he might like to know that.
I've lost 2 Thursdays in a row, though. I got to get it together on these Thursdays.
You weren't going to bet the Dolphins going into that stadium last night. I was going home, so I was happy to do it.
Yep.
We got the cover. Eric Wood coming up at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Welcome back. We're getting you ready for tonight's 8:15 kickoff between the Bills and Dolphins. Chris Brown and Eric Wood with Sal Capacio along, calling the play-by-play from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. Countdown to kickoff presented by Northtown Automotive. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at Northtown. Time for the pregame huddle. As Sal Capacio joins us, the Northtown Hyundai pregame huddle. Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Sal, the vibes are great and fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what a great day of weather here in Western New York, here in Orchard Park. I heard you guys talking on the way in. I was the same awestruck a couple weeks ago against the Ravens on Sunday night, looking at this stadium across the street, and it just makes me get emotional thinking about the fact that it's even there, to be honest with you, because we all grew up kind of thinking and hearing about the fact this would never happen and the Buffalo Bills wouldn't be here long term. And there it is right in front of us. It looks amazing. People driving in, seeing it for the first time, I think about what that's like for them to see it, right? And it's great. And obviously 2-0, Miami 0-2, a chance to kind of bury this team, to be quite honest with you guys. So I agree with you. Vibes are great. And we even got a wedding going on right near us here. A couple people getting married right over there. How about that?
It's not complete without a wedding.
That's right. Got Bill's Elvis as a part of the officiating crew. He's playing over there. John just said hi to me over there, so there you go.
10 years go by. The stadium is up. The Bills are winning divisions year after year. And you know what happens? The Bills go, maybe we can actually do that thing with the Maple Leafs now. Maybe it's safe to have our Maple Leaf partnership announcement. And all the years go by with, the threats and the, the feeling that maybe they were going to leave. But I feel like now with that thing, it's probably okay to have.
Have you done a hard hat tour? Have you gone in?
No, I've not been in.
Have you gone in?
I have not. No.
I'm sure you guys will at some point soon. I've done a couple, but I did one recently with Jeremy and Joe DiBiase, and it's pretty phenomenal to be inside and kind of see it and
I'll bet.
envision what it's going to be like, because you don't know, because you don't have the seats in yet. When we were in there, the braces were there for the seats, but to go inside and to see it from up top, there is a spot you can go on the opposite side of where we are, and when you look north, you see downtown Buffalo as clear as day, and it's super cool.
Yeah, I think being on the ground, like I've driven down Abbott Road and seen it on 28 under construction, but to be out of your vehicle and like feet on the ground looking at it, I mean, it's just so massive.
Love it.
It's just so massive. From this angle, even what comes to mind to me, like I drove by the Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee a couple of summers ago, and of course we had to stop because I'm still enough of a gearhead that I wanted to just be close to it. And like from a distance, that's what this reminds me of. That's a bigger facility, obviously a half-mile oval motor racing track, but from this angle, it's what it reminds me of.
And obviously, you think about that stadium next year, and now we've all done this all week. We've talked about the memories of this team, the Dolphins coming in here. I mean, unless something were to change with the Dolphins this year and they were able to get in the playoffs and come back, obviously, this is it, right? 53 years and the Dolphins come into this stadium, and this is it, the final time, which is pretty remarkable to think about, actually.
Yes, I wonder what that would have been like the other way around. Miami moved on from the Orange Bowl in around 86, 87 to Joe Robbie Stadium. That would have been maybe the equivalent.
Let's hope
first game was a Miami game, 1979.
Let's hope the Dolphins don't do what the Bills did in that game, the final game in Orange Bowl, and beat them. They went down to the Orange Bowl, and they beat them the final game there in 87 before the.
Well, welcome back, Eric Wood, to join us at 4, which is coming up. I think for as much as we talked about Mike McDaniel and his future perhaps hinging on the outcome last night, we all kind of pretty much seemed to settle on only if it's really bad. And it wasn't. And I think their offense looked like it's still pretty functional. I mean, the Bills did not have an easy time. But I don't like how he sounds or even sort of looks or the body language of the Dolphins. Like, we had Marcel Louis-Jacques tell us how what's different this year. One thing that's different this year is how he's calling out his captains. And the pick, McDaniel basically told you it's his quarterback's fault. Like, he almost said that. He pretty much said that. And Tua wouldn't go for that when it was his turn to talk.
Right.
So there's a little bit too much of that to, avoid sort of looking at it. I think there's a little bit too much of that with the Dolphins, and that comes from losing. You have where they've been the last couple of years, how their seasons have gone and ended, and then this offseason, and people everywhere kind of expecting them to plummet in the standings. Now they're 0-3. I mean, they showed all right in this game, but just like and the pick itself, the roughing the punter. Why do you ever need to have a lineman downfield on a play like those? They had a couple of those last night. Just like dumb teams only do that stuff.
Yeah. He was really hot about the roughing the punter penalty. Like, I thought he was in danger of. I'm not. I haven't been sitting on the the visitors any sideline. I haven't been in a game inside a stadium for one of these games, at least with a vantage point like I had in a long time. He was on the field yelling at the official long after, like, the Bills, the drive is down to the, he's yelling. He walks down the sideline, is in the side judge's ear, and he's still yelling at the ref. And I thought he's going to get a flag. Like, the ref's just standing there taking it. And after the game, his explanation was like, it was, it sounded to me like he knew it was a foul. So I don't know what he was so nuts about that the flag got thrown. I mean, the dude annihilated the punter. So that was odd to me, but maybe it's just defend my guys, like that kind of thing, like putting on a show.
Well, this is one of the captains that he called out recently.
Right.
That made that play.
So
I had one friend who thought it wasn't a penalty, didn't deserve to be a penalty, and only one. It was almost as obvious as that call gets.
I think so, yeah.
To me.
Yeah, so I don't think he's out of the woods at all. I said a few times during the week, like, I might prefer that they keep him on because I don't think it's going to really I don't think he's going to recover and turn them back into a contender. So the longer they are in this holding pattern with him, the better. So I think we're there.
The better for the Bills.
Yeah, right.
14 out of 15 now. Eric Wood after sports, Football Friday on WGR.
I think before Joe Robbie opened up in '88, I believe that was.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. It's incredible. And as far as I know, there could be a half-mile track in there. How it looks to me. I don't know.
Well, Sal, we've spent a lot of time already this week talking about the state of the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel and his future. There might be an opportunity for them to throw their last best punch of the 2025 season already, which sounds crazy to say in week 3. But I think if this game doesn't go well for them, right, if they have some kind of repeat performance of their opener in Indy, I just got to think this whole thing is going to blow apart.
Yeah, listen, I'll give you an idea. Of Dolphins fans. I got my friend Mike in town. He's a big Dolphins fan, and he said to me, he texted me last week, and he said, for the first time, I can't support this coach. And I think that's what's happening in Miami. It's not just the fans. The media are telling you what's going on, and it feels like maybe the players are kind of right on the fence right there about what is this coach bringing. Marcel was great with you guys the other day about the fact that, the players and where they are and trying to change the culture. And I'm sorry, it was when Ross Tucker talked about changing the culture and, how people know who you are. And I actually really like Mike McDaniel as a person, and he's had some personal struggles in his life. I think it speaks remarkably of him to be where he is in life, and he's a really smart football guy. But I don't know if this is it feels like it's going to end badly. The question is, does it end badly tomorrow? Really, to what it comes down to.
We'll get into it out here at the stadium. It's been great to interact with fans, and that'll continue for the next couple of hours. Want to say hi to Kelly from Batavia. Bulldog, the fan that dropped the line on you when I had left the set at Harbor Center, has the show ever sounded colder? Stopped by and says hi. And also Dave Wanstead, I believe, just left the set. I'm pretty sure it was wearing an Allen jersey. Looked like Dave Wanstead, maybe not. What is the threshold, do you think? We talked to Armando Salguero on McDaniel. Like, what maybe is the tipping point between let's keep going forward and not? And he basically said that he's got sources on the team that he alluded to. He's like, they got to look like they have fight tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd still be in more of a camp of it'd be too early. Like, week 3 is, you pull the plug week 3.
It's kind of nuts.
I mean, that seems still really early, especially because they have a Monday night game against the Jets 11 days from now, right? You get ready for that game. Maybe you can get off the mat a little bit. You give them one more chance to do that. I know that the old way is, or that the conventional wisdom is, you do it when you have more time to get somebody in. But I think that week 3 still seems early. And even as Marcel alluded to, you almost kind of put at Buffalo Thursday night as a loss on the schedule anyway, so you at least want to see them compete a little bit. It would have to be maybe something really, really bad, like 35-10 and uncompetitive, right, for them to go down that road. I just think it's still a little bit too early. I think about Chris Greer, actually, a lot, and for this job and for this point. Because
pretty good for him to last this long.
I mean, he has been in his job longer than Brandon Beane. He is the longest tenured GM without a playoff win in the National Football League. And I think about both those guys and what their future is. And are you going to fire Mike McDaniel and allow Chris Greer to kind of be in place to hire the new coach or whatever they want to do going forward? I'm not really sure. So, Mike, I think the answer to your question is what the tipping point is. It would have to be so bad that he can't stomach what's going to be said about them over the weekend, basically.
We've all been at this long enough to know what the script looks like for Miami to pull the upset tonight. 12.5-point spread. I mean, I said earlier, I think the most likely outcome of this game is a blowout Bills win, just the way it sets up. But with that said, what worries you about Miami?
Their ability to have a big play. They even did that a couple of times last year against the Bills here, and it was a tie game until the very end when Tyler Bass kicked the field goal. I went back and watched that game, and it reminded me that they have good skill players and speed. Tua's back there. He throws a long ball to Tyreek Hill in the third quarter down the sidelines and makes the catch. Devon Achane had a couple nice plays in the screen game for them. They can still strike from anywhere on the field. And then I go back to a couple years ago, and I give the Dolphins a lot of credit. They came to Buffalo in a game, and they said, we're going to take advantage of your lighter box, and we're going to bully you a little bit. And the Dolphins ran really well against the Bills. And I think Mike McDaniel is a smart enough offensive coach to come in here with a game plan and maybe go similar to what the Ravens did. Don't give the Bills a chance to communicate up front. Go a little bit quick count. Go play, a physical style of brand, and then the Bills have to be on their heels a little bit. To me, that's the path to victory. But I still think even if they do that, they would have to still have everything buttoned up enough to allow that to happen for 4 quarters. And they've done nothing over 2 weeks to show me they're buttoned up enough.
And it says nothing about them stopping the Bills.
Correct.
Right? Like there's a scenario to me where if Miami can get enough right on offense and Achane is dangerous and Hill gets behind you once or Waddle, whatever, right? Then, okay, maybe they can get to 28 or 30 points, but what are they going to do to stop this Bills offense?
I think you'd have to rely on the Bills to make their own mistakes, and this team just doesn't anymore, and they haven't. It could happen tonight, but the Bills have the NFL, let's knock on wood, record right now of consecutive games of not losing the turnover battle. That's insane. 24 straight games, right? The Bills don't give you the ball. They don't make these sorts of mistakes. I think Miami would have to force Buffalo into making a couple of these mistakes, have Josh Allen throw the ball to the other team. Remember, Miami comes here in the playoff game, they sack Josh in the third quarter, and they get a touchdown on defense because of it, right? I mean, that's the formula. If they want to on defense, they got to be aggressive and force the Bills to make mistakes.
I think that maybe this is self-evident, but a streak like that, you've got to be careful and, on point, and they have been. You got to have some luck. They recover every fumble. Even in the Jet game, there were a couple balls on the ground, and they got every one. So there's that. But I would bet most of the teams on that list, that streak, are top teams, and it's chicken or the egg. I mean, we know that a bad team that's +3 in takeaways can win, but those teams are also not chasing. I think the teams that are chasing are in trouble for takeaways. In the rare game when the Bills have been down, a couple of Jet games, not this one, but where they have to press and sort of gamble a little bit, and that's where you're going to get your weak side blitzes or the safety jumps the route, something like that. So most of these games, it goes back a couple of years now. The last time they lost the turnovers was in Miami, the Week 18 game, 3-2. This includes playoffs.
The Buffalo Bills are 3-0 and will now have a bit of an extended break. They won't be back in action until next Sunday at home when they take on the New Orleans Saints. Head coach Sean McDermott did speak earlier today with the media, saying both Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who missed yesterday with injuries, are improving. He also mentioned that linebacker Keontae Jenkins has a leg injury, and as of right now, the severity of that injury is unknown. We also heard from offensive coordinator Joe Brady and defensive coordinator Bobby Babich, and you can listen to all three over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. No Jane Daniels this weekend for the Commanders when they take on the Raiders. Marcus Mariota will instead get the start at quarterback. And then Packers tight end Tucker Kraft did not practice today. Head coach Matt LaFleur says his status for Sunday against Cleveland is uncertain. Day 2 of training camp for the Buffalo Sabres. Preseason game number 1 will be Monday at Columbus. And then following practice today, Captain Rasmus Dahlin did share a letter regarding an ordeal revolving around his fiancée while they vacationed in France this summer. For more on that story, our own Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And then in baseball, the Bisons are going to wrap up their season this weekend. They're home against Scranton tonight at 6, and then Saturday, tomorrow, 1:05, and Sunday at 12:05. All three of those games can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I think we've probably talked to Eric about this in the past, but I don't remember the details here. And I'm thinking about how you went to the game and got home at 1:30. All I did was watch the game and was up until past that, of course, just sort of looking at lineups and whatever, wasting time. Kirk Herbstreit's talking about flying to Miami, not home, flying to Miami last night after the game, expecting to get there around 2, and then a 9 o'clock coaches meeting this morning with the Miami coaches. Eric Wood on the Wester Hotline. Eric, would you be willing to sort of take us through your hours from when the game ends to when you get home?
Well, it's different every week. This week I had a funeral, so I flew up on Thursday with a group from Louisville. We took off this morning. I got home at maybe 1:45 last night, and then got up about 6:30 to head to the airport to get home. So not nearly the grind of a day that I'm sure Herbstreit had today, but yeah, it's often planes, trains, and automobiles. But look, we have a fun gig, and I often talk to Murph and many others about. I appreciate you guys doing it all the way through the drought, because we get to call a win most weeks with this team, and it's fun to cover, and we get the Josh Allen experience and now James Cook and all the highlights that come with it. And so it's a fun gig.
Well, you did plenty of these with us during the drought too. So, I mean, you weren't for 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week, but I mean, you did your time on the radio talking about those drought teams.
And I had to be pretty calculated with my words.
That's right.
because you got to, and honestly, I'm such an optimist that, every year I thought it was our year. There was never a season that started that I didn't think we had a team that could potentially break the drought. And then we'd be in the hunt, and then eventually we'd be eliminated, and I would hopefully spin it in a positive manner from there.
So is it that when the Bills play at home at night, you'll end up spending the night here, but then if they play in the afternoon, will you usually get to Louisville before the night is out? Is that typical?
Yeah, if it's a 1 o'clock flight, usually there's a Delta flight leaving about 6:30 or so, and then connect in Detroit or Atlanta and get home later that night. Next week, Bills play at 1 p.m. against the Saints at home, and then we have our annual Flights and Bites event benefiting Oshai on Monday night.
Okay.
So
You'll be here.
I'll be sticking around and doing the Elio DePaulo's dinner and all the things we used to do when I was playing, and sticking around more often.
Very good. Well, you're talking about how we've been having these conversations, the three of us, for years. It's been good for a while. I wonder if you're thinking at all, I mean, last night wasn't a blowout at all. I wonder if you're thinking at all that, like, this team might be the one. And, it might help toward that Kansas City has started with 2 losses and the Bills have beaten the Ravens. But, man, have they ever leaned into their physical side on offense? And Allen does, I think, symbolize that, but he's so much more than that. But they just keep doubling down on, it's Hawes and it's Shavers and just these, 3 tight end looks, and is it Jumbo on one side or the other? And Cook, to his credit, too, last night, after a game or two where a lot of what Cook was getting, especially the Jet game, was getting a few yards before contact. Here's a game where a lot of his damage comes after contact, but still, just what the line is doing, what the scheme is, it's got to be a dream for a lineman, not to stereotype, but maybe for any fan, Eric. It just seems they have really pushed in that direction and, successfully.
They have, and they still put up 31 points, and that's the remarkable thing. A lot of times when you commit to a ground and pound, okay, we have an advantage maybe physicality-wise against a team, so we're going to try and control the clock. We're going to, our star running back's going to have over 100 yards. A lot of times that doesn't lead to over 30 points because it just drains the clock more. Maybe there's not as many explosive plays, but this group does it, and they score 31 points in a night where you think, man, it just didn't feel like maybe they had their best stuff. Right. There was no big-time explosive plays, and they score 31. And this group is special. And, I was having this conversation earlier today. They've through 3 games, Josh had the long run against the Jets, which was a man-to-man defense. He busts out of the pocket and gets 40 yards. But beyond that, they haven't leaned into really any Josh Allen runs. I think we've run 1 QB sneak on the season, to where it's gotten to the point where the supporting cast, the offensive line, to your point, James Cook, they can kind of do it themselves, to where it's got to be a nightmare for teams defensively to prepare for the Bills. Okay, so what are we getting this week? Are they going to spread us out? Is Josh Allen going to put on the cape? Is he going to light us up through the air? Or are they going to put in Reggie Gilliam and run 22 personnel? They're going to put 3 tight ends on the field and run 13 personnel. Okay, how do we match up with that? Because Dalton Kincaid is essentially a wide receiver, but then he's also just crushing our safeties and nickels and
how about that?
Backs out in space.
How about that? Right.
I mean, it's just I'm just looking at it from a perspective of sitting in NFL meetings for 9 years and knowing how those go, and thinking about preparing for this Bills offense and thinking, I mean, it's just got to be a nightmare, just the different ways that they can beat you.
Yeah, they're back in prime time after next Sunday, the following 2 weeks. And I wonder if we won't, like in the run-up to those games and even on those pregame shows, have the tight ends be the featured talking point about this team. Like if they have another game similar enough to how this has gone so far through 3 weeks against the Saints next Sunday, I think those guys are going to become the story of this team.
Yeah, they have been so far, honestly. And against the Ravens, the game script got distorted just based upon them being down 2 scores for a majority of the second half, to where you're not leaning into your 13 personnel as much. But they have blocked so extremely well. I mean, look at the Khalil Shakir touchdown yesterday. Dalton Kincaid's the lead blocker, and then he's our leading receiver in the game, gets a touchdown. Jackson Halls gets a touchdown yesterday. But the way they blocked out there, and it's different, but maybe similar to when New England had Gronk and Hernandez, and they were just a matchup nightmare because they were both so physical, and so but they're great receivers, so you didn't really know whether, right, okay, do we play nickel against the defense? How do we do this? And it reminds me a little bit of that scheme.
How about the defense last night, Eric? So we had a very bumpy first week, but the Ravens was what we wanted to sort of work with there. Maybe it's not going to stay that bad. A great week in week 2. And then last night, Miami did its thing. I mean, long drives up until the late pick. It was a very good night for them, especially on third down. Are you let me just focus on that for a second. Are you somebody that singles out third down defense as like its own category, as a sort of a important piece as to what a defense really is? I go back and forth on that. I mean, I kind of think your defense is your defense, and maybe there's some sort of a scheme shortcoming on third down that's happening, but how do you analyze that? Because in both home games, despite the best efforts of the PA announcer and the Bills to sort of,
the train horn,
just sort of get everybody up.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of coming easy for their first 2 visitors this year on third.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Yes, I kind of treat third down, a little bit differently. A lot of times that is, can you put pressure on the quarterback? And that's not just a defensive line thing. That's not necessarily a scheme or let's blitz more. A lot of times it's, can you cover long enough to get the guys home? Last night there was times where there was either too much or it's man-to-man rub routes where the ball gets out so quick that, Bosa, Rousseau, whoever else can't get home in time. But, you have a defense last year that was 29th in the NFL in third down defense. And, the Jets go 0 for 11 and the Bills come to this week with the number 1 third down defense in the league. But it didn't necessarily feel like that, if that makes sense. And so there's definitely a concern there. Now, I don't think this defense has fully reached its potential for the season when you consider how many new guys are playing. They play this game without Milano. They play without Ed Oliver. You have 2 defensive linemen that are going to play a significant role on suspension. And also your first-round draft pick, your burner corner, is on IR and will be back. And so I think this group defensively will get better throughout the season, and you add a number of those guys back, and it's definitely going to help on third down.
Yeah, my overall right now on them is it's great to be able to be winning games and be 3-0 while Deion Walker and TJ Sanders and whoever else, Landon Jackson, isn't even dressing yet. Like, guys are learning, and hopefully, like, your record's good enough that you can keep a stranglehold hopefully on the 1 seed, and everybody kind of gets better, right? Like, Walker to me was one of the stories of the game yesterday. Like, it's not a huge role yet, but watching even just in the stadium before he makes the play that leads to the Bernard interception, there were run plays where I don't even think getting credit for a tackle, but they try to wall him off, and he's like, nope. I'm just closing this thing down. And like he misses sometimes because he's young. And that gives me hope that he'll figure out how to miss less. I think he's been one of the stories of the season so far.
No, I agree with that. And I would add, experience-wise, Cole Bishop to that mix. And Dorian Strong plays in week 1. And, and Dorian Williams plays yesterday. They have a number of young guys that are out there where your ceiling feels higher defensively than maybe in previous years where you got guys maybe on the tail end of their contract or whatever it may be, where the ceiling feels higher. And to your point about Walker, I was having a conversation with Ross Tucker last night, and we were talking about, obviously, it's run its course where we've talked about how Deion Walker, if he leaves 2 years ago, he's probably a first-round draft pick. He deals with the back injury last year, and you take some risks taking him in the 4th round, but 6'7", 340-pound guys that can move and have some wiggle, those guys don't grow on trees, and so I love the fact that you take a flyer on a guy like that, and it seems at this point that it's definitely paying off for the Bills, that they brought him in, they didn't rush him back, they let him, just hang out through OTAs, continue to rehab, continue to build up his strength and all that he missed through his back injury in 2024. And, that guy we might look back in a couple of years and think, what an absolute steal he was, because it's just a rare skill set. Like, those types of guys don't generally fall that far in the draft.
I don't know if Jackson Hawes will ever elevate to, that kind of steal level. Like, I'm not sure how productive he'll be, but Eric, he seems exactly what they wanted, maybe, dreamed of. You talked about Aaron Cromer and Hawes yesterday with us on the pregame show. Then he gets the touchdown precariously close to tripping up Allen after he slips going in motion, but in classic Bills style, no problem. And I liked too that on that play, and I mentioned to Bulldog earlier how Allen is sort of making like he could just run it in. But Hawes never blocks anybody. He still shows as a receiver there and gets paid off.
Yeah, did you hear after the game, Sal got him on the field after the game on our broadcast, and I forgot you guys don't listen to the broadcast, but so after the game, just kidding. I had to throw that in there. And I know you guys have listened to it some recently. But yes. After the game, Sal got Jackson Hawes, and he said, when we're in walkthroughs, Josh will do that type of thing, like try and catch you off guard. And so he's like, he's done that to me before, where I'm on a route, it looks like Josh is going to run it in, and then he flicks it to me. And so he was essentially saying he was prepared for that based upon the fact that Josh maybe having a little fun during a walkthrough will do that type of thing. But
good.
Jackson Hawes has been absolutely incredible as a rookie. He to me seems like the type of guy which, he stays at one school, he develops. It's the type of rookie you used to get, if that makes sense. Where you used to get a guy that stayed at one school, he developed, he was in the same scheme, he got stronger with the same strength coach, and then he comes into the NFL and he's ready to roll. And a lot of times nowadays, you're getting a guy that maybe has been at a couple different schools. He's 3 years out of high school. He's 20 and a half years old. And then, okay, let's develop him. Let's, kind of show him the ropes. Jackson Hawes, he's a man out there. I mean, he's developed, and he's an asset for this offense.
You are right to point out that I was not listening to the broadcast last night, but I did watch Sal talk to Jackson Hawes because I was in the stadium. I couldn't hear it, but I stood there watching Sal interview him. I did,
it would have been awkward if you had your headphones on. In your seat.
You know what? Can I just say, if the broadcast, and I'm sure this is it, or this is true or close to true, were the best radio broadcast of an NFL game imaginable, how would I do it if I want to watch the game on a stream? Like, it's Amazon Prime. How would I possibly Eric, do you do this? I mean, in our defense, do you do this just to see if you can do it, if it would line up so that, the radio guys aren't giving anything away?
My wife does. And she, whether it's pausing the TV or however she does it, I know that my wife gets that done. And
Okay.
I get feedback during the game from people on, I guess it's called X now, that also do the same. And so.
All right, so maybe it's not as hard as I think.
But I do understand your point where it's not going to be fully synced unless you put some effort in.
Look, if it's Al Michaels, I'm not going to do it. If it's Spiro Ditas, I might give it a shot. All right, no offense to anybody, but like,
and you had one of my favorite people in the world, Kirk Herbstreit, who I've known for 15 years, on the call last night, and I think he's about as good as it gets.
Eric Wood on the Wester Hotline for just a couple of minutes, so a little bit of extra time here. We've had this before. I'm sure we've asked you this question, but now they're going to play New Orleans next Sunday, and they're possibly going to be an even bigger favorite in that game than they just were. Then New England, if you want it, the following week, where they should also be similar. Is there a job here to keep guys' heads from getting too big?
There is. Maybe not getting too big, but just keeping your foot on the pedal. And I would say one of Sean McDermott's strengths is that. I mean, Sean, I've told you guys this before, but Sean is often a lot harder on the guys after a win than he is a loss. After a loss, it's okay, let's build the confidence up. It's not as bad as you think. After a win, hey, we were fortunate that this happened, and we've got to get better because here's the 5 reasons we could have lost this game, and we need to get better in these instances. So Sean's going to keep his foot on the gas, and he'll have those guys, I assume, ready to roll. And, it's like just from an offensive lineman's perspective, no matter who we're playing, they're likely going to have 1 or 2 guys up front that are an absolute issue and can definitely embarrass you. And that's just from an offensive lineman's perspective. There's every position kind of has those matchups where you're going into a game thinking, man, this guy, he's a big-time ball player, and I could be embarrassed out here if I don't bring it. And so, yes, I don't know if trap game's the right word. And through a season, there's going to be ebbs and flows. But I think Sean McDermott is as good as anybody about just truly, modeling it by example that you just have to keep your foot on the gas the entire season. Now, you got to have the right group that can sustain that and, kind of deal with that constant pressure throughout the season. But based upon their track record over the last 6-ish years in this run we've been on, seems like they got the right group.
The Saints have, for what it's worth, the leading sacker in the league through 2 weeks, Carl Granderson, but I'm not sure an edge rusher is how this team would get tripped up on offense if it were to be tripped up at all. Eric, well, enjoy the extra few days, and we'll talk again, not Monday, but sometime soon.
Okay, sounds good. You guys have a great weekend as well.
All right, there you go. Eric Wood, his appearance here on WGR Weekly, brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com, as well as by Northtown Kia, Western New York's #1 Kia dealer. Shop at northtownkia.com.
Saints at 0-2 at Seattle on Sunday. That's a probably popular Survivor pick if you didn't use the Bills last night in a Survivor tournament. And if you're in one, pretty good chance you're still alive through 2 weeks because there were very few upsets. If you got knocked out already this season in Survivor, you took a chance, a little bit of a chance, which is good, but didn't work out for you. Still, most people are going to be in it, and Seattle, a healthy favorite at home Sunday against New Orleans. How much do you trust the Seahawks in a tournament like that? That's the question. Or maybe you just use the Bills. I did in one.
I still got to make a pick. I did not get on the Bills last night as much as I liked it. I maybe was saving them for this week against New Orleans. We'll see.
When do we have the 17-0 conversation again?
At the bye.
All right.
I think if they get to the bye,
I'll wait.
Yeah, I think you get to the bye at what will that be, 6-0?
Yep.
If they get there.
Yep.
Then I think it's time.
It is a debate. I'm sort of kidding, but this game was tough. And the opener, you stole it. So do you have to think, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of this, do you have to think that this team is like fully formed, just maybe better than ever? I don't know. we can discuss it. We will. Sal will join us at 5. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. 803-0550 to join us. We'll be back in a snap, brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
The Buffalo Bills do move to 3-0 and will now have a bit of an extended break. They won't be back in action until next Sunday at home against the New Orleans Saints. Head coach Sean McDermott did speak with the media today, saying both Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who missed yesterday's game with injuries, are improving. And then he also mentioned that linebacker Keontae Jenkins has a leg injury, the severity of which is unknown at this point. We also heard from offensive coordinator Joe Brady and defensive coordinator Bobby Babich. You can listen to all three of them over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Do stay tuned. We'll get more on yesterday's game and what is to come in the next week with Sal Capacio as he joins the show at 5 p.m. No Jay Daniels this weekend for the Commanders when they take on the Raiders. Marcus Mariota is going to get the start at quarterback, and then we do have some key questionables around the league. Colts tight end Tyler Warren with a toe issue as they take on Tennessee. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft, he has a knee issue. They go up against Cleveland. Bears running back DeAndre Swift, a quad. Chicago is going to host Dallas, and then Tampa wide receiver Emeka Egbuka with a groin. Tampa will host the New York Jets. And then day 2 of training camp for the Buffalo Sabres was today. Preseason game number 1 will be after this weekend on Monday at Columbus. And then following practice today, Captain Rasmus Dahlin did share a letter regarding an ordeal revolving around his fiancée while they were vacationing in France this summer. For more on that, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Just got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. Obviously, we're running the ball really well. James Cook looks like he's shot out of a cannon every time he touches the football. Our O-line is doing such a good job of communicating and working together. In the passing game, we got guys that are in the right spots. You know, teams are typically playing some soft zones against us, which just some underneath stuff that we're just going to keep taking until they take it away. So, you know, part of the reason that I think, you know, we're having such success is, again, guys know what they're doing. They're in the right spots. And then when there's plays to be made, they're being made.
Seems right. Josh Allen and the Bills 3-0. Take the weekend off. New Orleans, rare appearance by the Saints in Orchard Park. Next Sunday, 1 o'clock. Imagine a 1 o'clock game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Football Friday. Lines are open for your calls. 803-0550. How good are they? Like, is this the best Bills team? Is it another good to great Bills team, but with a little bit maybe of an easier road than before? What is this so far?
I think I sort of touched on it a little bit with Eric. I think right now they very much resemble last year's team, complete with the flaws as well as the positives. Right? They're running it. They're powerful. They've got the 3 tight ends now instead of the 6th offensive lineman. That's more in favor than using Alec Anderson like they did last year.
No turnovers ever.
No turnovers. A 25th game in a row without losing the turnover battle last night. But on defense, you've got, third down problems. Last night, can I get to the quarterback? I thought Tua, they did win, not a ton up front, but they won enough that I think one of the most surprising things about the game last night, sorry, I don't want to get away from the larger question here, was how effective Tua was getting out of there. Usually, I feel like if Bosa or Rousseau wins, or even someone in the middle wins, I got you, right? On plays where he's going to hold the ball a little longer, a lot of their stuff was the ball is just coming out, and there's no no matter how much you win, you're not going to get there. But on plays where he held it, I thought he extended plays in a way that I'm not used to seeing him do with success. So I think that was a big part of their third down success. But anyway, overall, that's still a wart from last year. Do I have enough there? Getting third down stops and not having to live off turnovers. They got the roughing the punter penalty and the turnover, and that was what sealed the game. They may have won it without either, because Miami was only going to tie you probably on that drive where Bernard makes the pick. But the problems are still there and are familiar enough, but I feel like there are guys in place now that either aren't playing yet, like Hoyt. Ogunjobi to me is more like just a guy, but I think they could use just a guy because Sanders is not good yet at all. Like I'm almost going to say a liability at this point. They're in a situation here with the 2 tackles they drafted. It's a little bit like Elam and Benford from a few years ago. The rounds don't exactly match,
closer
of course,
together.
but closer together, 2nd and 4th. But Walker is absolutely outplaying Sanders. Like he's beating his doors in. Sanders just gets moved easily. Walker's not perfect, but I feel like they've got guys, and maybe even Sanders falls into this, hopefully, with the draft pedigree he has, that can get better as they go. They'll get Hoyt. Hoyt is not Ogunjobi to me. Hoyt is someone who should matter to their overall here and how they want to use him and should supplement what they've got going and maybe hopefully give Bosa a bit of a break. So I feel like they have the horizon to me. Right now they look like the same Bills as last year, winning this way. But I think there's people in place that were not here last year that I could see helping them be better by midseason and beyond. And hopefully, they're really impactful by the end of the season. Like Eric Wood was saying about Deion Walker, it's years down the road where you're talking about him being this player you look back on. But if he incrementally improves, because he did not have a good week 1 at all. He and Sanders both struggled badly against Baltimore. But it's gotten better already for Walker, and that's not going to continue, infinitely. But I just think they've got more hope that they'll be better later in the season, provided they stay reasonably healthy, of course, too. But so that's how I feel. I think they have more potential to be the best version of the Bills that they've been during this run.
803-0550. Here's Tony next. Hi, Tony.
Hey, guys. Answer to your question, I think they're very good. I don't have any reason not to put them right atop the NFL, but I need your guys' help in comforting me with something that I still struggle with a little bit. When we are as good as we are, we have the quarterback we have, we certainly pay attention to our defensive side of the football. We've got balance. But yet, despite how good we are at, not turning over the football, we still seem to favor a game script with very few possessions between the 2 teams. Why should that not make me nervous some nights?
I can relate. I agree with you.
It was there was a lot of muttering around me in the stands last night as really it peaked, I think, as the punt was happening where the roughing the punter penalty came because the game it's tight, it's tied, and you'd already seen a couple of possessions in the third quarter after the Bills did get stops. They forced back-to-back 3-and-outs, but the Bills matched them. And then here comes the fourth quarter starting, and I'm punting again. Oh my gosh! And so I think that can make you nervous. It leaves you less margin for error if you're playing that way. And they do seem to choose at this point anyway to play low event football. They're not pushing the ball down the field, by design. Allen has the ball in his hands. He can decide where he's throwing it, but he's careful. I think they want him to be careful. I think he wants to be careful, so they're careful. And that can leave you a little vulnerable at times.
I won't say different. I relate to this. It's like at the root of all the consternation over the last couple of years about wide receiver talent and just like how high is the ceiling for their offense. You got to give them one thing, and this can change in any given week, but they are so efficient that it's not hurt, to say the very absolute very least, it's not hurting them. Like they're able to go games without turnovers. They don't have a turnover yet this season. What? Right? That's just insane how well they've done going back a year and a half or more at this. So it's random, but only to a point. It's in the game plan, in there. They're just with this tight end group, and the line is just, they never miss a play. And they're just tough to measure up to. knowing that you still have Allen lurking, I think we're getting to a point where teams are going to let Allen beat them down the field. I think they're going to have to. And maybe we don't know if he can with what he's got around him. Elijah Moore is a factor right now. That's good. Coleman and Kincaid, you're getting a few plays a game from each guy. I mean, nobody's got 5 catches a game yet. Nobody's averaging that. Coleman had the big fourth quarter against Baltimore, and that's kind of it, mostly. But Kincaid looks like they know what they're doing, maybe more than ever with him. Mm-hmm. And he's also blocking and making a difference there. So I just don't know when and how you never can know this, but when and how they're going to play somebody who can, the Ravens were it, who can sort of force them into that. And what happened when the Bills finally in that game got to a point where they had to go. Baltimore changed its defense and, maybe made it a little bit easier for the Bills. But still.
They threw for 251 yards in the fourth quarter of that game when they had to do it.
Right, so you throw your hands up at some point.
Right.
But there's still so much season left. I just wonder if they're going to play teams. We've always liked their schedule that can, body them. Is anybody going to be able to do that? Is it going to be the Eagles in late December? Is it going to be New England? No. I mean, who's it going to be that can really? Because the Bills always have. It's not even like that they default to it. They're starting with it, where they have that physical advantage and they know what to do with it. They know how to use it. And so, good luck to if a team can. I don't know who it might be. Could be anybody, I guess, in a given week, but. It'll be when a team can physically measure up to them in a game that, well, all right, we'll see if Keon Coleman can win can separate, or we'll see if it's Palmer, or just like, all right, Allen last night, Allen and Tua, the stat is combined shortest air yards per attempt, 1 point something, in any game in 9 years in the NFL. Like, both quarterbacks just threw the ball short the whole game. And the Bills still put up their 31, and Miami did well too, just had the turnover and a couple of other mistakes. Yeah, I can understand being a little bit uneasy about that, but on balance, like, I've got my friends who are constantly whining and complaining about every little thing that happens in every game. I mean, just look at yourselves. Which team would not trade places with them?
Right.
It also seems so petty. Not this one necessarily, and still so much season yet to go to figure out these answers. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Thanks, Tony. Sal at 5. This is WGR. Football Friday on WGR. Sal Capacio will join us just after the top of the hour to look back on last night's win over the Dolphins. Let's go to Mario. Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Hey, I'm happy for the win. Obviously, 3-0 is a great start, but I want to be critical, if that's okay. I have three areas that I want to talk about. Number one is I think we can agree that the McDermott teams, as of late, have had some trouble when they go into games where they're heavily favored, and we call them trap games, right, where the Bills have to go in and take care of business. In fact, I think it was Steve Tasker talked about Marv Levy was like, these are the games you go in and you have to win. And then it seems like the Bills go in and they tend to play down to the level of competition. So my concern moving forward is, is there a philosophical issue that the Bills need to address where they seem to sometimes be ill-prepared for the task at hand as if the game should just be given to them and they play slow, because I think we're favored in every game moving forward. So I'm just concerned that they're going to have a little bit of that against the Saints and against the other teams that we should, quote-unquote, should beat. And then the other issues I have with the team are, third and long is just, give it to the teams. It's like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and they're converting all over the field. At one time we looked away from the TV and just like, they're going to get it, and they tend to get it every time. And then lastly, I know they're having a lot of success. They're doing a lot of 12-man personnel, 13-man, but I think there's something to be said where I think Allen only completed, correct me if I'm wrong, one pass, 10 yards or more, like over 10 yards. Yesterday, maybe that was a statistic, I might be wrong, but I don't feel like the play calling is completely there yet. I think there's a little bit of things that need to be improved moving forward. So I just want to get your guys' take on it. My number one point I'm a little concerned about overall is like their mentality going into these games where they should be playing their best football against these lower-ended teams, and it turns like it happens a lot with McDermott Bills. So, what do you guys think about all that?
I think we're mostly making this narrative up. The whole league is predicated on how even everybody is, and we're treating teams like these as they should just blow them out. They were favored by 11 and they won by 10. What are we looking for here?
With a missed field goal, by the way. Anyway, go ahead.
Trap games, again, which have been proven a myth, are when you're playing a down team between good teams. The Bills have the Saints next week. This is like their all-time biggest rival. They would not have been looking past the Dolphins. I doubt they were unprepared. You have a team on the other side that has good players and a lot on the line, and, they hung around. I don't see that as criminal. I don't even really see it as a interesting topic. If maybe I should just do it. Let's look up their record in all games, in games as favorites, in games as big favorites, in division games, on Thursdays. They're 8-0 on Thursdays. What do we think it should be? Respectfully.
Yeah.
What do we think it should be? I don't know.
Perfect, I think. Look, you be as critical as you want. I don't mind. I got things that I haven't even gotten to today that I didn't like about yesterday, and maybe they'll come out, maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm not going to force my way in here. We want to talk to some of you. We've got Sal coming up. But I don't know.
You can come in tomorrow and do it.
We just talked about their third down. Like Mike asked me, just what are they right now? And they're a lot like last year with the flaws and all. And the third down defense is central to that. Like that was a problem for them, a big problem for them last year, and it certainly was last night, 10 of 15. So they're not without things they need to get better at. I think my hope is that the guys that are learning as they go here, the rookies, are going to get better as they go, and that they'll be in better form as they get later in the year. But I don't know that that'll happen. Maybe it just won't get better. That's. I think it's totally fair to look at their third down defense. They'll tell you. McDermott talked about it today. Like they got to get better at that. You cannot allow any team, bad or good. Obviously, you're going to be more worried about it against a good team, but a good team should be better at it, against you. They got to get better on third down defense. No question.
Thanks, Mario. Sal Capacio next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The Bills move to 3-0 in their 2025 campaign, and now they're going to have a bit of an extended break here. They won't be back in action until next Sunday when they're at home against the New Orleans Saints, a 1 p.m. kickoff. Head coach Sean McDermott did speak with the media today, saying both Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who did miss yesterday with injuries, are improving. He also mentioned that linebacker Keontae Jenkins has a leg injury, the severity of which is unknown at this point. Offensive coordinator Joe Brady and defensive coordinator Bobby Babich also spoke with the media, and you can listen to all three over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. We'll get more on yesterday's game as Sal Capacio will join the show next. No Jaden Daniels this weekend for the Commanders when they take on the Raiders. It will instead be Marcus Mariota who will get the start at quarterback. Daniels dealing with a knee injury. And then some key questionables heading into the weekend. Colts tight end Tyler Warren with a toe issue. They take on Tennessee. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft. He has a knee injury. They will go up against Cleveland. Bears running back DeAndre Swift, a quad. Chicago does host Dallas. And then Tampa wide receiver Emeka Egbuka with a groin. Tampa will host the Jets. And then in baseball, Bison's home versus Scranton just after 6. The season is going to wrap up this weekend with 2 more home games versus Scranton, Saturday at 1:05 and then Sunday at 12:05. All 3 games can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Let's visit with our Sal Capacio on last night's Bills win over Miami. Sal joins us now on the West Her hotline. To get right to it, Sal, a couple of callers have come at us in this game with somewhat of a critical mind. And I wonder how critical of the Bills you would be about that game.
Yeah, I got a lot of the same sentiment today. I got it last night on, just reading tweets, and then after Arrow Up, Arrow Down, same thing. And I think this morning I got it on Extra Point Show. And look, I think there's definitely things that need to be improved. The third down defense was not good last night. There's no doubt about that. There's some other things about the offense that stalled. No doubt, there's always room for improvement. There's always things you want to go back. It was not perfect. It wasn't the best, most clean game. But, man, I think that expectations are getting a little bit out of reality here for a lot of people, to be quite honest with you guys. I mean, just because you're favored to win by 12.5 doesn't mean you should win by 20. And you score 31 points a game, 31 points in a game against a division rival on 4 days rest. I mean, I think we've gotten to a point, and I've made this point, and I think Chris has made this point, Chris Brown. I just think that we live now in an era where people watch highlights of teams and players and play fantasy football, and there's this expectation or maybe perception that all of these teams and these players are just doing all these incredible things all the time and can't do anything wrong. So when the Bills do something wrong, it seems like it's totally out of character and you're the only team. That's just not reality. It's not the way it is. So, yeah, I think that there are things to be critical about in this game. But holy cow, man, you just beat the Dolphins by 10 points at home on 4 days rest, a team that was 0-2 and trying to claw their season. I think that's a pretty good win in my book.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I'll just add here, not that we are responsible for people's expectations, but some of it, I think, we spent a lot of the week talking about Mike McDaniel is going to walk the plank after this game, and because the Bills are going to stomp them, and so that raises expectations, even subtly, even if you don't take it all in and digest it. You're hearing it if you're plugged in and paying attention to shows like this one and others. So there is, I think, a certain expectation. But I definitely agree with the watching the whole league and understanding that everyone just doesn't do everything right all the time. It isn't perfect. So it was it got tense there last night, but I guess it should, right? It's a football game.
That's exactly right. I think it should. Although I say overall it should. But I do think that it shouldn't at a point in the game where the Bills had a chance to go up 2 scores. They're at the Miami 16-yard line. At the very worst, it should be 17-7 after that drive, but it probably should be 21-7. They don't cash in. They have no gain. They have a -2 play, and then they get a sack, and then they miss the field goal. And Miami comes down and scores. That's where you should have put them away. There's criticism here, no doubt. That's you got to execute better there. No doubt about that. There were times in this game where I felt that the Bills' offense just did not push the ball down the field enough. And look, that was a criticism I got a lot of today. I've heard, and I had a couple people say to me today, well, I can't believe the Bills or Joe Brady aren't letting Josh Allen, not allowing him to throw down the field. What do you mean not allowing? He has the ball. He's in control of that. He's the guy that makes that decision. Do people really think that there aren't players running routes more than 10 yards downfield? That's just unrealistic to think that. What the reality is that Josh Allen had a couple of times where he looked downfield and decided to check it down. And that the Bills are probably trying to make sure that they protect the ball as best they can by not taking unnecessary risks on certain play calls. No doubt about that. I saw with my own two eyes from the field, Josh Allen look downfield several times and then decide, you know what? I'm throwing it down here. I'm taking the check down. So, yeah, I just think that sometimes the criticism is so general because you don't see what's actually going on. And that's okay. Fans can be fans, and they want to have these – they have a certain expectation for their teams. I also just think this fan base is a bit spoiled, to be quite honest with you, because of what this team has been able to do. Boy, I remember last year the Bills were scoring 30 points a game, and, the defense was letting up points. And I literally had people say to me, well, I don't care. You need to score 40 a game then. What are we talking about here? Nobody does that in this league.
One thing, too, about the check down options, if that's going to be a 5-yard play, their thing is the 3 tight ends and James Cook and getting open receivers out of different formations in that personnel group, using Gilliam, too. And a 5-yard play, they have not turned the ball over at all. That's become their brand here in a year plus. That'll work, and last night was an example of this. And they have taken the whole sixth offensive lineman or the whole thing up notches this year. And you said it right after the draft with respect to Hawes. Here's a guy who can be Alec Anderson and better, and also an eligible receiver who has experience, running routes. And what a start to his career, Sal. Interesting sequence there right at his touchdown. The snap, the timeout is called on, it's not even the play before. It's that play. They regroup. He's back out there in that same position, goes in motion, slips, comes back, and, that this is the way of the Bills these days. Of course, Allen avoids him, just stepping back, no issue, and then he's ready for that shovel pass there for the touchdown. Interesting player, big hit in the betting props last night if you happen to have him, and what a great start for him.
No doubt about it. And listen, he is doing exactly what this team drafted him to do. When he was drafted, it wasn't just he's a blocking tight end. He's really great at it. I think we all saw that, but we knew and we were told, look, he could actually catch a pass or two once in a while. He's not some just, bumbling blocking tight end. He's not a lineman. He's a tight end. That's what he does. He's also super smart, by the way, right? He went to Yale before he went to Georgia Tech to play football. So, he's a smart guy. I love the Bills are doing exactly what they've wanted to do for years at the tight end position now. And the way Jackson Hawes described, by the way, after the game to me, he threw in Reggie Gilliam in that group, said, we have a 4-headed snake. That's what he said, because they could just come at you. They could pound you. And when teams run, I asked the guys, I asked Austin Knox, I asked Jackson Hawes about what can you do to a defense when you can put 3 tight ends in the field and they still don't know if you're actually going to run the ball, right? How much of a stress is that on a defense? And, yeah, they love it. They just love that they can just do so much with those 3 guys in the field and, be able to come at you in a lot of different ways. But you're right, Mike. The Bills' offense is, hey, we don't have to get 11 yards on the first play and all the way down the field. No, we can do 5, and then we can do 6, and we can put ourselves in second and short, and we can set ourselves up for these more manageable situations. And to them, there's nothing wrong with it. And I know fans, it's not sexy for a lot of people, and I'd love to see Josh Allen throw deep ball after deep ball. That'd be great. But the Bills have this philosophy now of we have a guy here that we want to keep healthy for 17 games. We don't need to take risks because we're good enough to win without taking risks and to give the other team extra chances. So as long as we can keep doing that, we're going to keep doing that.
Sal, how about James Cook in this game? I'm curious if your view from the sideline and if you look back on it at all, it felt like he was a whisker away from breaking 2 or 3 really big runs.
He was super close. I mean, the one ankle tackle went on the toss sweep to the right, guys. To the right, going right to left on television, towards the scoreboard end. Toss sweep to the right. Man, he just didn't get out of the ankle tackle. He said that after the game. He said he was a little I don't know if he was frustrated, whatever word he was, that he thought that he could have taken. The way he said it, I could have taken a couple to the crib, right? He didn't take a couple to the crib.
I think that's the one Fitzpatrick got him on, I think is the one you're referring to. That was right in front of me where we were sitting.
Yes.
Right.
So I think no doubt. But, man, James is he's really stepped up. I had a caller today in the Extra Point Show make a good point. He said not only the Bills might have the MVP, they could have the Offensive Player of the Year, James Cook. I mean, he really is starting off as a player that could be in that conversation.
Yeah, right.
That's how good he's been, actually, right? I mean, you think about what he did last year, and I remember Matthew Berry. I'm reading Love Hate by Matthew Berry before the season for fantasy, and Matthew Berry's like, here's players I hate this year. When he says hate, he means you shouldn't be this high on him. And he had James Cook. He said the regression in touchdowns is inevitable. Well, so far it isn't. I mean, he just tied a franchise record with his 7th straight game with a rushing touchdown.
How about his usage? Now, the first 2 games, it was very much like it had been last year and even the year before. But last night, 67% of the snaps, the vast more than 70%, I think, of the carries in the game. Is that hope? I'm going to hope that that's game script because I want to be careful. Like when he signed the contract, I know a lot of us wondered, okay, does that mean they're going to use him more because they want to get more out of him? And my thought was, don't do that. It works the way it is. You've got your guys in your roles. I wonder, Davis has had a very uneventful, to be kind, start to the season so far.
No carries last night.
Right. Yeah. Ty Johnson is still in his role. I just wonder if last night was maybe an aberration, or are we seeing a trend where maybe Cook is becoming more of a guy that's going to be on the field that much?
I think he will be on the field more than he was last year. I think they're showing a little bit more faith in him in all situations. And yes, you're right. I think it's kind of curious to me that Ray Davis hasn't been really that involved. I do want to give some space here, and I don't know this. We're not in there, and they wouldn't tell for sure. But I do want to give some space here to the fact that they have 10 days off after this game, and they knew that. And I think it's easier. I mean, Joey Bosa is another good example of this guy. Joey Bosa, when he played 69% of the snaps week 1, we were told, that's a little higher than we want. He was over 80% in this game. And I just wonder if it's the Bills knew, hey, there's 10 – you leave it all hang out this game. Let's go out, win this game, it's division, and then you got 10 days before the next game. So we could put a little bit more on these guys if we have to.
And it was close.
Yeah.
They needed it. It was important. And you'd want to think if it's tied mid to late fourth quarter, your best players are on the field.
The one usage on Bosa, we had a caller earlier that, was I want to be critical. And I got things I want to be critical about. Well, maybe my least favorite thing that happened all night last night does pertain to Bosa. And and I guess it's snap percentage, as it turns out, how often he's playing. What is he doing on the field on that last Miami series? Is that just let's try to get him a sack for bonuses or something? The game is over. You've got your 10-point lead, and he got collided with, and he's fine. I assume we haven't heard anything, but man, that I'm watching that happen. He missed the tackle, and then a teammate, I think, collided with him, and I saw it and went why are you not in bubble wrap right now? The game is over.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't really know and didn't think about that. But maybe it's because he was the only person getting close to Tua. But you're right, the game was pretty much over anyway. Right. But he really was the only person getting close to Tua other than Tre'Davious White when he came clean on a blitz and should have had him and just took a bad angle at the end of it, and Tua got out of it, right? I mean, my criticism is of third down defense, but I think Sean McDermott had a really interesting take on that today. Sean's honest. He's going to tell you it wasn't good enough, the percentage. Sean's take on the third down defense was, look, we forced 15 third down opportunities. That's a lot, and they were really good on first and second down, but no doubt you got to finish the third down, right? You get them there, you got to finish. He wasn't excusing it, but he was actually very happy with the defense played overall because I think the way it sounded to me, what he was saying was, look, when you put a team into 15 different third down situations, generally you're going to get off the field, but no doubt they have to do a better job. And he actually, Sean liked the way the defense played based on his comments after the game and today.
All right, Sal, are they off for a few days here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I asked Deion Dawkins about that, and he goes, man, he goes, it won't be no days off. McDermott will have us in here doing something, right? But I think so. I think they're going to. I don't know the exact schedule, but they did McDermott and coordinators today. So obviously that means this weekend they won't be. They probably. I don't know if they will on Monday, but it tells me it probably won't on Monday. They'll get some time off here, and then next week they'll be back at it for a regular Sunday afternoon game the following week.
Very good. Thanks for this, and we'll talk next week.
All right, you got it, guys. Thank you.
All right, it's our dude Sal Capacio on the Western Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Time to hit a pumpkin farm, say.
For them? Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Something to do this time of year.
Yeah.
Free weekend. I'll be in Ellicottville on Sunday. That'll be another thing you could do.
That's a nice spot to be on a is it fall yet? It'll be fall on a nice fall Saturday. Close enough.
Sure. We're right at the crux of it this weekend, summer to fall. That's exciting to think about. Let's go to David here. Hi, David.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hi, David.
How y'all?
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so I feel like last night was super stressful, but a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are missing the fact that, we had no Ed Oliver and Matt Milano. They're huge. And I feel like Ed Oliver makes Joey Bosa a better player.
Okay.
Right? I mean, true or false? They played together for the last two games, and then there's no Ed Oliver last night. And
Oliver didn't play against the Jets.
Ed Oliver didn't play against the Jets.
Right? Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
I would say Bosa's one good game was the game against the Jets. I would say
your point still holds. I mean, Oliver helps them. It helps them. It's going to help everyone be better if you've got one of your best defenders on the field. No question. No question.
All right. I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Feel what?
I'm dragging a little bit now.
Oh yeah.
I didn't need to be up until 2. I have no excuse. I didn't go.
Right. Yeah. You should have gone to sleep.
I should have gone to sleep. And what's happening to me lately is there are I want to do it like this. When I start to yawn, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Shut it down. You're tired now. Don't refill your glass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't grab the chips. This is close the computer. You'll get to your fantasy lineups in the morning.
Yeah.
And, actually have a morning this way.
You need some discipline.
But I don't do that. And I stay up. And last night, not that you asked, there was one team, I've got all these records. You make fun of me for it. But there's one team that I shared with, and I don't have access to it. I can't look up that team, and I didn't take notes on it. And so what I did was my partner on this draft streamed it, and I went and watched it so that I could know who's on the team.
Streamed what?
He streamed our draft.
What are we? Oh, okay.
On Ship Chasing.
I see. Okay.
So now I just decided.
You went back and looked at.
I watched the stream.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
To see who was on our team. I knew a couple guys, but I wanted to know how we were doing. I didn't want to bug them at 1 a.m.
This was an old stream. You went back and looked.
Yeah, a month ago.
Yeah.
Right. So I did that, and it's 1 or 1:15 in the morning, and here I am on the couch, laptop in my lap. I'm watching this stream. Dog's asleep. She's getting better at actually sleeping in her bed, not on the couch. Because if she's on the couch with me and I move at all, she just freaks out. Something scary is happening, and I don't want to see that. So get her in her bed. It's quiet. And I'm watching the stream, and I hear her bark on the stream. And I remembered that I did this stream from the living room. And I just took my chances because my Wi-Fi goes in and out. So I'm doing the stream in the living room, taking my chances that Margot will not bark during it if, someone comes to the door or, a leaf blows in the air or something. And so she starts to bark on the stream, and she jumps up in real life and barks at herself. It's the bark vortex.
Wow.
Is happening here. She's barking at her own barking.
Wow. Everything comes home to roost there.
Everything comes back to Margot.
Yeah. Yeah, you got no... Yeah, I mean, I got home at 1:30 and ostensibly ate dinner at 1:45. Yeah. So I was up until 2:30 because I'm eating pizza and wings at, and that's a good feeling, by the way. It's 2
I do the same thing.
2 in the morning, and it's like, just what? But I was super hungry. I didn't have a lot to eat at the football game, so I had some fruit before we went out there. I mean, that was my day.
Fruit is like 2 o'clock.
I had a protein shake. So I needed something. But yeah, fruit. 2:30.
Fruit. What did you have to eat? Fruit. Before you got there at like 2, right? 2:15,
2:20, 2:15.
And you had some fruit before that.
Yep.
Half an hour earlier. You said you had traffic.
A little bit on the way there. Yeah, on the way home. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, we
had traffic going there though, even though it was early in the afternoon.
We did. Yeah. Getting out of there is fun. You people who've been doing this for like your whole entire lives. I mean, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect. When we were out there all the time for post game, a day where it's 40 and raining, like fans are there. It's like, man, you people, you really grind it out. Sitting there, like I moved an eighth of a mile in an hour. As we got out of the game, like we did not rush out of there. We stood around and watched the scene on the field and the handshakes. And I mentioned Eric that I watched Sal talk to Jackson Hawes, and I just wanted to kind of drink it in.
Amazon.
I don't know. Yeah, right. Watch that show set up. People around me screaming how much they love Fitz. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna be in there again for a game. So I wanted to just sort of soak it in. But yeah, I mean, get in the truck and Nate Geary's talking, and I'm sitting there, and it's 11:30, and then it's 12:30, and then it's 12:45, and then Zach is coming on, and I'm on Route 5 still. Like, wow.
You know what's tougher, actually, just quickly, you know what's tougher than leaving a Bills game half an hour to an hour after it's over? Leaving a Bills game half an hour to an hour before it starts. As I did yesterday.
I've done that plenty of times, too.
That's not easy.
That can be tough.
I'm in that field house lot, and I'm not sure how to get out. When you arrive, there's all kinds of open entrance spaces, but by the time that we're close to game time, it's all gated, or almost all gated. So it's really like a maze, and people are just walking everywhere. And, just like...
You're the guy in the car
I'm the guy
still, right?
Yes, that was me. Yesterday, trying to get home for kickoff, which, by the way, I missed one play.
Right.
But I'm driving around that just, try not to hit anybody. That'd be bad. And also trying to figure out how to get out.
Yep.
And, when you come in off Big Tree, at that close to game time, all the lanes are incoming traffic. There's no lane for you to... You can't get out at 7:30.
Right.
Last night, you can't get out that way. So you have to go back out onto Abbott and turn left onto Abbott where it's no longer closed. And there are, hundreds of fans are walking. They're not expecting cars. They're not interested in where the crosswalk is. They're just all spread out all over the street. So I get to the place where, like, if somebody were coming in, there were two women who were like going to scan their parking passes. I'm going out. I said, "This is how I go out?" And she said, "Yes." She says, "Just go out there. The sheriff will see you." And I get out there, but I can barely get out there at all because people are just coming in diagonally through Abbott, toward the gates. And then she sees my predicament and starts to, guide me out and starts to hold people back a little bit and helped me eventually get to Abbott. Then you can't turn left on Big Tree at that hour.
Right.
That's blocked off. So all the way past ECC and Southwestern and that way. But leaving a Bills game an hour after it's over is hard. Leaving a Bills game an hour before it starts, maybe harder.
That's how I would have wanted to go home last night, but I couldn't. I couldn't get there. I go that way. Okay.
Yeah.
I can. Abbott's open now. Okay, I'm turning right, and then I'm just sitting in front of the stadium. Well, the stadiums, really. I'm sitting in between
the stadiums.
I'm sitting between the stadiums for an hour. All right, it's cool. All right, fine.
Yeah. Has the show ever sounded older? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Football Friday continues. Sal's visit, which is always a treat, is part of our Drive at 5 segment, Bulldog. And I want you to know that the Drive at 5 is brought to you by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com, by Northwest Bank for what's next. Get started at northwest.com, and by Excelsior Orthopedics Express. Sideline with a sprain, strain, or break, get to Excelsior Orthopedics Express. We'll look for your calls again after sports, 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
stopped me on the street last night. Said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
The Buffalo Bills move to 3-0 following their 10-point win over the Miami Dolphins. And now, a little bit of an extended break. They won't be back in action again until next Sunday at home against the New Orleans Saints. Head coach Sean McDermott did speak with the media today, saying both Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who missed yesterday with injuries, are improving. He also mentioned that linebacker Keontae Jenkins has a leg injury, the severity of which at this point is unknown. Some key injuries, though, going into the weekend. No Jane Daniels for the Commanders against the Raiders. Marcus Mariota will get the start at quarterback as Daniels deals with a knee injury. The Broncos, they have ruled out tight end Evan Ingram and linebacker Dre Greenlaw for Sunday at the Chargers. Quarterback Brock Purdy is questionable for San Fran as they get ready to take on Arizona, but should be noted, head coach Kyle Shanahan did say it is unlikely Purdy will play. And then some tight end questionables. Colts tight end Tyler Warren, toe issue as they get to take on Tennessee. And then Packers tight end Tucker Kraft with a knee as they go up against Cleveland. And then in baseball, Bison's home versus Scranton just after 6 o'clock. The season will wrap up this weekend with 2 more home games after today versus Scranton, Saturday 1:05 and Sunday at 12:05. And then all 3 games can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
$20-25 Josh Allen shouldn't exist. You should not be that gifted, that fast, that talented, jump over linebackers, yet he never throws interceptions. Usually 6'6" guys with that engine and that ability, I mean, they are letting it rip. Josh, you get all the upside and you get none of the downside. I mean, listen to this. his last 12 games, including the playoffs, 30 total touchdowns, 1 pick. That makes no sense. His ability to control, have the discipline to not just, I'm going to let it rip and throw it through that coverage is unbelievable.
Did he get that from Sneaky Joe, that stat? Sneaky Joe had that stat. Colin Coward there. Did he just...
Sneaky Joe had 11 games, though, so I don't know. Joe's is even better. I don't know. I'm not in the research department, so I don't know which one is accurate. I know 11 games is less than 12, and so if he's got 30 touchdowns and 1 pick and 11, well, it cuts both ways. The 12th game with only the 1 pick is better, but the 30 and 11 is better than 30 and 12. So it cuts both ways.
Good to cite the source, though. Maybe next time Colin should do what we do, which is say something like, I know I saw it on Twitter, but I don't know who said it. I don't remember. Sorry. That's even better than just not saying anything.
Love doing that.
I know I saw it. Right. Forget who. Apologies.
Yep.
Total touchdowns was never a stat before running quarterbacks made it one. Total touchdowns. You got to make sure you say it, though. Like, it isn't... When you're talking about a quarterback and you say touchdowns, the implication is passing.
Right.
So you at least have to say total, like he did. If you leave that out, then just sort of assume that rushing touchdowns would be included. I don't think you can do that.
Right. Yeah, so like if I tell you I had this Jackson Hawes anytime touchdown with 2 Josh Allen touchdowns, and, well, as it turns out, I had an Achane touchdown, which didn't happen. But if I'd had the other running back, say, what's the dude's name that just showed up yesterday and scored right away?
For who?
Miami, the 31. I can't remember.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, thank you.
Rookie.
Yeah. Allen had 3 touchdowns. You won your bet. Like, no, I needed him to run in for 2 touchdowns is what I had.
Yeah. He threw a pick. Allen's last interception, including playoffs, he did not throw an interception in the playoffs last year, was against New England at home. That was a tough game. That was after Detroit threw for 154. The Bills were in a battle that day with the Patriots, trailing at halftime. But Allen got picked off in that game. Man, the Bills really did get outplayed by the stats that day. I'm not done with the Patriots. The Jets looked completely not in the Bills' league. The Dolphins looked like the Dolphins. That's a losers lose game.
Yep.
They did a lot well. They're an underdog. They punched with the Bills for most of the game, but we're still rushing punters in the year 2025. Offensive linemen downfield, I feel like should never happen. And when the Dolphins did it twice last night, it was super obvious. Like you couldn't even not call it. The second one took away 20, 25 yards.
Yep.
Huge penalty. And then the interception is just like a bad decision, just a really bad decision. And he got played on that one. So tough. I mean, this is the Tua conversation yet again. What is my ceiling? Can I ever? His record against good teams is abysmal. I mean, I think he's a likable player, likable guy, just from afar. But there's certainly a ceiling there that's pretty low for when it comes to him and them in these big spots. And so maybe their season isn't a complete disaster like it looked like it would be or could be in week 1. But I think at best they're the same.
Right. Which is, if McDaniel makes it through the season, I still will be surprised. Because as the losses mount, I'm still expecting it to really unravel there. But we'll see. They did show up last night. I wasn't sure they would show up at all. And they did. So credit to them, credit to him. He got their attention enough, or they just had enough personal pride, regardless of what they think of him, to go out there and put their best foot forward with, a lot of replacement guys. I mean, and they lost guys in the game too in the secondary.
Yeah,
that's a part of
back.
That's a part of what is, I think, bothering some fans about what the offense looked like in the game and why was it so close? You had an advantage going in, and it got better even in the game, and you just couldn't pull away from them. But all the same, I still think they're on track to not be a factor. New England, you sound like you want to pay special attention to New England this weekend then. Right? What do they have? The Steelers, right?
Yeah. I just don't want to be done with them. They played a close game with Miami, so did the Bills. right? They lost to the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders are going to be an enigma in for picks or something where they win in New England and Geno Smith throws for 360 or something, and then they can't do anything the next week, turnovers against the Chargers. I kind of like them this week because you're not supposed to. Sort of feel like they could be one of those teams. But I like New England before the season. I feel like it should be a team that improves. The schedule is pretty much cake. And I think after the opener when they lost to Vegas, I'm listening to Sam a lot, and he's way out. He has been way out on the Patriots. There was some give up there around, fans, people talking. I'm not, if I'm the Bills or just sort of talk in the Bills context, talking about them, I don't want to dismiss the Patriots. The Dolphin game was tough. The Saints game on paper should not be. Who knows? Then it's New England, and that I probably will think of that game more like last night. And I'm looking at last year's version of the Patriots. I mean, they won the Week 18 game. Throw that out because, the starters don't play. But they could have won here in Week 16. I mean, that was a good battle. And now they've got, a better coach. We'll see. It's a couple weeks out.
I would expect them to largely avoid what I wouldn't expect. You're going to have to beat them. It's going to be a loser. I don't think they'll be a losers lose kind of team.
Okay.
Because of Vrabel, New England. I at least have to give them that. I don't know how much talent they've got. I don't know who's going to rush the passer exactly and be a problem for the Bills' offense, but they won't. I don't think they'll beat themselves. I think Vrabel will have them pretty buttoned up.
Drive Around the League, brought to you by Mike Barney Nissan. Awesome cars, great dealership, lousy jingle. Let's go to Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, guys. How you doing? First,
good, man.
Go to Bulldog. You ate well before the game. I did the same thing. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, I broke out a slab of mozzarella cheese and a slab of sharp cheese and ate, I swear, a half a pound of cheese until 1 in the morning. Yeah. I'm going, why do we do this to ourselves? We're just bad. We're evil.
We're lazy.
Yeah, boy. And then I didn't sleep well. My stomach was upset. Well, you ate 8 wings and 3 pieces of pizza, you idiot.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Just go. Yeah. I got my bobblehead of Rex Ryan from the Vikings game in front of me to remind me how things were bad back then. So that's I'm thinking, geez, people forget how bad we had it. Dick Duran and Rex Ryan and who God knows who we had before that. And we're 3-0. We should take it and just love it. We have Josh Allen as our quarterback, and just let's eat your popcorn and enjoy it.
Well, Kevin, the standards are different. I mean, you're certainly everybody. You do you, right? I mean, the standards are different. Those teams, nobody's ever thinking about a Super Bowl. Is this team good enough to win a championship? That's what it's all about for the Bills. It's been for 3 years. That's why I think a critical eye is reasonable. I think you can go too far sometimes, but that's totally subjective. You might think that of me or us, but it's not the Duran team where you're just hoping to luck into enough wins to be in the hunt or something. I mean, quite not. Thanks for the call. We'll have picks coming up at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR. game, trying to get the usual sort of perspective on it. Got to mention this, or else we lose our license. Terrell Bernard. The play, right? It's not just the bad decision. It was well explained, I thought, on Amazon, too. Like, just sort of what Tua doesn't do there with Achane out to the flat and just not seeing the whole board. But Bernard was, I mean, what needs to be said? He was ready for it.
Yeah,
he jumped in.
Him talking about that play being, the design of that play being highlighted from their game last week, I think, and just being prepared to step into that spot. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like when we used to visit with Micah Hyde. There was a game where he fooled Brady in the end zone, and talking about having noticed it on film and stuff. That Bernard talking after the game. I mean, I got to hear everything last night because I was sitting still for an hour and a half. Hearing Bernard, I'm like, man, I love that sort of stuff. Like I'm not a coach, never have been, but I just. Man, when a guy tells you, like, I did this work, the coaching staff helped me do this work, and I realized this is the moment, and I'm going to go for it. Walker on that play just whooped his guy. Yep. Whooped is not. I mean, he just blew by him. Like he blew by him like an edge guy. He just like.
He caused the throw, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Oh yeah, I think he even got a hand on it. Like there's yeah. So it maybe would have gone. Bernard still jumped it, but maybe it would have gone a different, maybe it wouldn't have been a pick. Walker was really impressive to me last night. There's going to be ups and downs. I mean, I was very hard on him after the opener. They had to get him off the field, him and Sanders both. And Sanders is still not happening. They're gonna keep going here. I mean, he's a second-round pick, but Walker looks really nice. I mean, he was Oliver's out, but he was introduced with the starting defense last night. Walker, that's becoming a nice piece for them.
It's a good play or great play by both of those guys. It's a bad pass. It's just you're so frustrated by a loss like this. The roughing the punter, completely unnecessary, had to be called. This is first down, this interception. Right? I mean, they've got 3 minutes. They're at the 21. They're converting third down after third down, and they're mixing it up really well. I mean, the Dolphins don't have that much, but still, Malik Washington end around, Ollie Gordon, Hill Waddle. I mean, it was Achane, of course. Like, it was working. And, it's a lot to – that's why we talk all the time about how teams are playing defense, and teams are even playing the Bills a certain way, where, like, go ahead and use your – 14 plays. That's what it's going to take. The Bills are doing it. And the Dolphins were doing it in this game. But to have that pick happen on 1st and 10 is especially annoying for Miami because, you could throw the ball. He could have thrown the ball to you in the crowd. As long as there's a receiver within, you and Blaisdell or something. He could throw the ball to you and it'd be 2nd and 10. Okay. Fine.
From where he was, that would have been a backward pass to me, so I don't know how that ruling would have gone, because I was... But anyway, no.
He could have thrown the ball anywhere. Just junk it.
To Sal on the Bills sideline.
Fine, Sal.
That's better. That'll work.
Right. Harry Skull. Just throw it to anybody. And, 2nd and 10. On to the next play. But we don't need to, preach on how why turnovers are important. It's just... If it's 3rd and 10, it's not as bad. You got to do something.
Right.
We will get to picks next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. Football Friday on WGR.
The Buffalo Bills are 3-0 to start their 2025 campaign, and now they'll have a bit of an extended break here. They won't be back in action until next Sunday at home against the New Orleans Saints, a 1 p.m. kickoff. Today, we did hear from head coach Sean McDermott as he spoke with the media and did give a bit of an update on Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, who both missed yesterday with injuries, saying that both are improving, but not much of an update past that. He also did mention that linebacker Keontae Jenkins does have a leg injury, and the severity of that is unknown at this point. Some key injuries, though, heading into the weekend. No Jaden Daniels for the Commanders against the Raiders. Marcus Mariota will start at quarterback with Daniels dealing with a knee injury. The Broncos have ruled out tight end Evan Ingram and linebacker Dre Greenlaw for Sunday at the Chargers. Quarterback Brock Purdy is questionable for San Fran as they get ready to take on Arizona. However, head coach Kyle Shanahan did say it is unlikely Purdy will play. And then some questionable tight ends for this weekend. Colts Tyler Warren with a toe issue. They take on Tennessee. And Packers Tucker Kraft, he's dealing with a knee injury as they go up against Cleveland. And then in baseball, Bison's home versus Scranton just after 6 o'clock. The season is going to wrap up this weekend. 2 more home games after tonight versus Scranton. Saturday just after 1 and Sunday just after noon. All 3 can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila. More beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR Sports
Guy
Radio
must live in a state
550.
where you can buy beer at a liquor store. Doesn't live in New York.
All right.
Do I have that right?
I
know I do.
Yeah.
You can't buy beer in a liquor store.
All of them?
Well, I would think all of them.
I don't know. I didn't know there was most liquor stores I go to, I don't see beer, but I don't know that means that it's not allowed. It's just like I sell liquor. I don't sell beer. I don't know. It makes sense that they would. I'd probably want to do both if they could. I've never really thought about it, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz getting the start for Minnesota. That's kind of the theme of Week 3 around the league as we get to picks. And that's that several starting quarterbacks are going to miss this week's games. Brock Purdy, they say highly unlikely to play. That's past doubtful for San Francisco. He missed last week. Mac Jones did fine for the Niners, so probably no Purdy. No Jaden Daniels. That's been made official for Washington. That'll be Marcus Mariota. No J.J. McCarthy from Minnesota. We learned that one early in the week. Carson Wentz. Did you realize that this will be 6 teams in 6 years for Wentz?
I think I read that somewhere. Yeah.
And it started at least one game for each.
I don't remember where, but I know I saw it somewhere.
Right. The last 2 years, he has started one game in each, and both years it was Week 18, a meaningless Week 18 game.
Well, the stakes are a little larger here in Week 3, buddy.
So much larger. That is an important. This is a big game for Minnesota. They are 1-1. They've lost McCarthy, and they were quick to rule him out. And the speculation there has been, okay, how bad is his injury really? Like, what are they going to do? Now, Wentz has not been good in ages.
Right.
But O'Connell he made it work with Darnold. He made it work to an extent with Nick Mullins and Joshua Dobbs. And like with McCarthy, it did not look good at all. I would not want to say that, of course he's not really hurt. But it was interesting to me, and I do Matthew Collar's Purple Insider podcast every week. We talked a little bit about this off the air. I retweeted the link if you want it, by the way. It's mostly about fantasy football, of course. But I told Matt, it was interesting to me that they ruled McCarthy out so early in the week that it was just like, was it even Tuesday? It might have been Monday, where they're like, he's going to miss, 2 to 4 weeks or whatever they said. Like, why? Wouldn't a coach normally play that out until even Sunday?
Yeah, and there was, right away after the game, I know I saw maybe the last snap he took in the game that he last played, and he's running around on the pile. It doesn't look to be hindered at all by an ankle injury of any kind. And okay, that's I think maybe the flashpoint of the speculation about what really happened there. So.
Well, Matthew said, I asked him, were people talking about it in the locker room after the game? He said no. Nobody was talking about an injury. And he said maybe Schefter or somebody had it that the Vikings had decided he was going to miss time with an injury, or a quote injury. And what the Vikings did was just they just owned the story and announced it themselves. But it is an interesting one. It does seem, I would say it, I think Matthew might say it, but I don't want to say for sure. If Wentz is good, and it might be 2 weeks at least anyway, where he could ride this out for them. Philadelphia, Indianapolis, he's the Colts quarterback on the Jonathan Taylor game against the Bills. Washington, Rams for one game. Chiefs. Last year he starts that Week 18 debacle in Denver. 38-0. They might have had 5 first downs or whatever in the game. Something ridiculous. And now the Vikings. All right, let's go. Let's get into picks.
And what if I did do it? Even though I admit to nothing and never will. What does that make me? And I'm not here just defending myself, but all those pickers out there who've been caught. Each and every one of them. Who has to suffer the shame and humiliation because of people like you.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Are we not human? If we pick, do we not bleed?
On WGR.
I am not an animal.
Sports Radio 550.
My friend wants to know from you how it took you until 2 o'clock to get home in Buffalo when he got home in Victor at 12:45. I think it's that Abbott Road maybe mistake you made.
Yeah, probably.
Where you just sit there forever.
And it wasn't 2. It was 1:30.
1:30
when I got home.
But Victor is 2 hours.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, I don't know. Did your friend leave early?
He said he left after the field goal, so 30 seconds.
That could have mattered. I mean, people did start screwing. You got at the front end of that, and you got out of there. I mean, I stood there. I waited for the traffic to build. I'm not on the front end. So what's the difference? Is what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Narrator.
But I was also. I'm not. I haven't battled post-game traffic in 20 years. I mean, we were there a lot for post-game shows.
Everybody would have left by the time we're done.
We're 2 hours after the game ends, and there's some straggling traffic, but it's not anything really. So I know how I like to go, but right away I'm I'm in the same lot as you, so we got to go out back towards that little where the gate is, that One Bills Drive. But what they were going to have us do was turn left then to go out on Big Tree, right? So I'm doing a U-turn basically, right? But as we're just about to get to where I could turn left, the lady comes, I'm the second car in line about to turn left, which is how I wanted to go, because I would have gone there and then turned right at Big Tree and gone towards the lake. And that's my route out of there, right? But she said, she took the car in front of me. Oh, you can go. Abbott's going to open. Go ahead. So we go.
Oh, and I'm fell for it.
And I'm still thinking, I don't think she would have gotten in the way of my truck if I wanted to still turn left.
That's good.
But I felt strongly encouraged to take her, please go this way. Okay. But I still have my way home in the window. But now we're just sitting here. And, I mean, half an hour maybe, waiting to turn onto Abbott Road. 10 cars in front of me.
So bad.
And then suddenly the right lane starts turning right onto Abbott. And I'm and I can still see that Abbott from the parking lot left is backed up. This isn't going to break anytime soon. All right, I'm going to turn right on Abbott. And then, then I sat there for literally an hour.
Yep, I imagine.
Once we got through that Southwestern light, we didn't stop again. But it took, a very long time. So that was it. I was just stuck sitting in between the stadiums on Abbott Road.
In between the stadiums. Well, let's talk about games that are going to be played in other stadiums. Now, we turn our attention to other stadiums. Picks, 9-4 here, 8-5 there. Good records. Look at us.
Yeah.
17-9 if you went with us. And we had a couple that we disagreed on, including last night. I took the points last night and got away with it. So, my turn to lead off. My first pick, so I wrote 3 games down this morning. I'm going to stick with it, but this game has moved a point today. I want to take the Giants Sunday night against Kansas City. Everything's coming up Bills. That's really not a good point when picking a game. But I heard Joe Ostrowski put it this way this morning on his show. I can't give 6.5 with the Chiefs against anybody. Like, they just too many close games last year. That was the story of their season. They did have 2 or 3 2-score wins or more than 1-score wins late in the season, but it wasn't like they were boat racing anybody. And I don't know, Giants at home, what Wilson looked like in week 2, neighbors, a couple of studs on defense. We'll see. I mean, Kansas City still won't have Rice. They probably still won't have Worthy. I'm ready for the Chiefs to turn to their rookie speed. Brashard Smith, Jalen Royals, but they really haven't yet. Smith had 1 carry against the Eagles. It's 5.5 now, but I'll stick with it. I wrote it down, so I would have liked 6.5 more, but I'm too late. 5.5 with the Giants Sunday night.
Royals is okay. Was he?
He's practicing in full now.
Okay, all right. I knew there was something with him. I saw it somewhere. I don't remember where.
Like they're going to
Taekwon in the season.
They're going to Taekwon Thornton,
right,
downfield. This is a 2nd-round pick by the Patriots out of Baylor a couple of years ago. Belichick was still there. In classic Belichick draft fashion, he was considered a huge reach. I mean, there were lots of wide receivers in that range, and they went with Thornton, super fast, but I think kind of frail. And Mahomes missed him deep left sideline late in that Eagle game. Then he hit him. That was a great pass and catch for the touchdown. So Thornton is borderline fantasy relevant. I wouldn't want to start him this week, but maybe that happens. Once Worthy could happen this week, doubt it. Then Rice come back. It's probably it for him, Thornton. I will take San Francisco minus 2.5 at home against Arizona. Okay. Am I a sucker here? Is it because it's Mac Jones? Looked the same to me last week. They might not have Jennings. They've got injury. They always have injury issues, the Niners, or even Trent Williams. But, they beat the Saints pretty handily with their injury issues. McCaffrey's there. I just think the Cardinals, they played New Orleans and Carolina. I don't think they were really impressive in either game. Harrison is still not giving them anything, and maybe that's not even his fault. Always this drama and confusion with Arizona. I don't like it. I'll take the Niners with less than a field goal as the spread over the Cardinals at home. I'll try Carolina again. 5.5-point underdogs against Atlanta. That line has moved a lot toward Atlanta. But I'm not giving up on the idea of the Panthers, being okay. They got down to the Cardinals. They rallied. They were a lucky cover for me last week. And they're down 27-3 in that game and still covered the 6 or whatever it was at Arizona. But Carolina, come on. Bryce Young, come on. I mean, some of the early questions are back with him. People are talking about his size again. I just don't know with Atlanta. They were pretty good physically against Minnesota. I'll give them that. And maybe those edge rushers will swallow him up. Division game at home, I'll take 5.5 points. Pick 4, Denver. I like this one. Denver at the Chargers +3. I feel like it's a little bustery with the Chargers' height right now. 3 points with the Broncos. There's really not a home field issue there playing in L.A. And while the Chargers are fine, 2-0, I'm not sure they're necessarily better than Denver. The betting line tells you that people don't really think they are. Give me the Broncos. Settle in this year. Strange start. Won against Tennessee, lost that fluke field goal thing at the end with Indianapolis, or else they'd be sitting 2-0 going into this game like are the Chargers. And my college pick will be Auburn. +7 at Oklahoma.
All righty. I'm gonna go with you on the Broncos. The theme. Three of my 4 NFL picks are what I would refer to as confirming priors, which is horrible process. You're bragging about our record. We're off to a good start here. My process is a joke. It always has been. I thought as the season began, I think we've got the paper to prove it in the form of the reverse AFC power rankings. I thought Denver was going to be better than the Chargers. The season has started. The Chargers are the division favorite at this point. They look really good. Denver, you just said it, has had a kind of an odd start. It's settle in, like you're saying. So my prior was Denver's better than the Chargers. Okay, Denver, I'll take your 3 points. Go beat the Chargers. I'm going to go opposite you on the Panther-Falcon game. Again, priors. I'm pretty high on Atlanta. I love Michael Penix Jr. I'll lay 5.5 points. I think those edge guys will wreak havoc on Bryce Young. And at some point, I feel like that Falcons offense Penix, it was not a lot of games last year, but downfield, he was money last year. And they really have not gotten off yet. And I think that has to happen. Well, I think it should happen at some point soon here. So I'll take a soft-looking spot here in Carolina for it to happen. So I'll go against you there.
They cut Younghoe Koo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kicker missed the tying field goal week 1.
Yeah.
John Parker Romo week 2 made everything kind of like a Bills thing. So the Bills haven't cut Bass. And Prater actually missed.
Badly, too.
Whoa, that was a miss. That's a miss's miss.
Big miss.
No drama there. They didn't need to review that.
Yeah. No. I'm really starting to worry about Prater calls today. We got to wait a little while, I guess. Just down the list.
Maybe if he didn't make the last one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think he likes that left hash mark a lot. All the extra points. And he has this odd shape to his kicks where it looks like it's going right and it comes in. Or am I doing that even backwards? Left and then, yeah. Because usually, you see the kicker, like the best kickers draw the ball in and then right down the middle.
Yeah.
He's got more of like a fade on his kicks. And that, I had the thought, that means nothing, but when he lined up for the first field goal, like, oh, he's right down the middle. Uh-oh.
I still struggle mightily with draw and fade. It's sort of like starboard and port for me on a boat. Like, what? Anyway, so I'm not sure which is which. I hit the ball and like, was that good? Was that a draw? What did I do?
Really?
Anyway, yeah. I'm exaggerating.
For such
a little,
an experienced golfer,
I do get confused. One more confirming prior pick. Come on with the Colts. Right. I mean, right. I'm not looking for confirmation. I'm just telling you, come on with the Colts. The Titans hosting the Colts, getting 4.5. This is crash down to earth Indianapolis Colts Daniel Jones week. I feel it in my bones. I didn't think they were going to be good, and I think Daniel Jones has been a punchline. So I'm ignoring the fact that he's been excellent, and they haven't punted into. I predict they will punt.
I'd love if they just went for it.
Maybe
on fourth.
Right,
it's like, we're not punting this year.
We're not punting anymore. We don't even have a punter. So I'm going to take 4.5 points with Cam Ward and the Titans. I mean, I don't know why anyone would listen to me, but that's my pick. And I'm going to go against our buddy Sam. I'm going to take the Packers minus the 7.5 against the Browns. The Browns may mess with Jordan Love. I just think that Packers defense looks mean all over the place, and I think Micah Parsons is going to be just in Joe Flacco's jockstrap all afternoon. So I'll take Green Bay minus the big number.
Good game for the arguably 2 best pass rushers in the league.
Yep.
Head-to-head.
And for college, I'm having fun with these stupid big numbers. I'll take Virginia Tech minus 35.5 hosting Wofford tomorrow. I don't have there wasn't a Friday night game that fit my.
No, there's only 2 tonight.
Step right, and neither of them are
Iowa Rutgers
ridiculous, right?
Throw out their record books, and there's one at 7. That's at 8, I think.
Yeah.
Iowa Rutgers,
and that's a really small number.
2.5.
Yeah,
Sam likes Rutgers.
All right. So anyway, there you have it.
There you have it. Picks.
Do what you think is right with the information you've just listened to.
What would that be? Completely ignore it?
Ignore it, 100%. Ignore it. Yeah, that's what I think.
Is there a game this weekend you're looking forward to the most? Neither of us picked Monday night. Monday night's awesome.
Monday night is really the game. I'm very disappointed with the Sunday schedule, locally anyway. I don't even know what game would be better. It's not a great looking week to me. So I can't. No, I guess curiosity about New England. The Bills play them soon enough, so I'll definitely sit with that. It'll be on. Hopefully, it keeps me away from red zone because I don't need the headache. All the jumping around on red zone just makes my brain scramble.
It's a loud show.
I don't need any more of that. My brain is scrambled enough. So no, is there anything you're aside from Monday night?
Love Monday night.
Yeah,
I love to watch Baltimore, and when Sunday I've got a family commitment, so I won't be around for at least most of the 1 o'clock window. And if Baltimore's playing in the 1 o'clock window and I miss it, I'm annoyed. But I'm not, because they're playing Monday night, and I'll be able to see it. Against Detroit, by the way, we never said. Ravens are favored by a pretty healthy 5.5 at home against a Lions team that just won 15 games and scored 52 points. I think there's really an outdoor golf element to Detroit betting, I think. I think there's sort of a knee-jerk. His results are so different indoors versus outdoors, and now he gets the Ravens. But it's a huge total, too, in the 50s, I believe.
Yep.
Last night, that was the one last night. There wasn't much drama about the spread for most of that game, but it went over on the Prater field goal by a half point. The implied total was 11.5 and 50.5 means Bills 31.5, Dolphins 20. And the final score was 31-21. Pretty much right at it. No fade or draw, just absolutely on the screws.
Right. Straight. You see the stakes out there? Right down there.
I'll watch Dallas and Chicago in the late window, and I will be very disappointed if it's not a shootout. That's what that game probably should be, even if it's at Soldier Field, where a shootout has literally never been played.
Right.
But maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the game. I mean, both teams defensively are kind of lost.
Yeah.
Football Friday on WGR earlier today, even though he's usually on our Monday lineup, Eric Wood, he joined us today with the game having been last night. So we will have that conversation for you next. It's brought to you by Salino Law. Car crash? Call Salino. Call the 8s. And by Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's hometown fuel, game day ready since 1922. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will be back in a snap. Brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.